You know, the tale of a man giving up his love of God for the sake of a woman is one as old as time. But today we're going to dip our toes into a story of a man giving up Satan for a woman. And I am, of course, talking about the inestimable Razorfist, the Rageaholic, a guy who, unique among any other on YouTube, made a career out of being a drunk retard online. You might say that he's an innovator in that sense. And, It's like the early bird gets the worm. The drunker you are, the sooner in YouTube, YouTube's long history you are, the more money you're gonna make. This guy was drunk since the very beginning. Drunk since before even Ethan Ralph. I mean, this guy, let's see here, what's the oldest video on his channel? Let me see. Come on. Load.
Wake up, babe. The CCTV's...
All right. So let's see here. Oldest. 14 years ago. That's pretty good. What's that's 2010? So this guy would have been here right at the beginning of the atheist versus Christian debates. So yeah, I mean, he was here before Gamergate. So the reason I'm talking about this guy is because he's basically flipped on what he used to be, and that's fine. Again, I said this with the IDUB stuff. You can make the transition, not that transition. You can this kind of transition, content transition, not like genital transition, from one thing to the other. And this guy started out. His whole character is that he likes metal, that he says meanie words, and that he's a Satanist. But the thing is, what used to be cool in 2010, back when, you had all these atheist dumpstering Christians in debates on YouTube because neither of them knew anything about, like, theology or apologetics, isn't cool anymore. And so this guy, the Rageaholic, is now a born-again Christian. Which, that sounds great, right? He found God. He's changing his behavior and everything. Well, not really. It's more sort of like you flee the ISIS to join Hamas, like same shit, different day. And the funniest part is what it feels like is that the reason this guy's done the flip is on behalf of a woman. And again, the basics of that story sound great, right? Like, you have some virtuous woman enter your life and makes you change for the better. But the thing is, this woman also back in, she's hasn't been around as long as this guy, but back during Gamergate was super SJW, getting people deplatformed, all that kind of stuff, and then flipped after her, I don't know if they were married, but fiance, husband, boyfriend left, okay? So I am, of course, talking about Melanie Mac. Now, the only reason that this story is interesting to me, it's not that this guy's a simp. It's not that Melanie Mac is 40 years old and trying to tell you about how to live your life and, like, what's virtuous and what's not, while she looks like she literally walked out of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. I mean, let me show you what I mean here. Your Bible study trad wife, sir. Where's the tattoos? Your Bible study trad wife, sir. Okay, so this is it is for the sake of this woman that we are now Christian, Mr. Rageaholic. But basically, there's another show, Kino Casino, which I'm sure anyone who follows any of this shit knows who these guys are. They do a segment on Razorfist where they kind of collate all the claims of his long history. Because, the fact is you can't be making YouTube videos for 15 years and not have some skeletons in the closet, right? And they make this whole segment about him. They call him a bunch of names. They're really off the cuff about it. They call him, what did I say during the H3 Ethan debate? Is that in this side of the sector, in the side of these guys who have been deplatformed off everything and now have to only stream on Kick. What did I say? They go straight for the throat, and what's going straight for the throat? Call everybody a pedophile, right? That's the just classic grade A Napoleonic tier strategy, right? So they do a segment on this guy. Because they don't like that Razorfist and Melanie Mac are complaining about, like, boobs in video games. And I don't really care about that issue. It doesn't really matter. I can kind of see both sides of it. I think that they're right that it's sort of like you have this meme Gamergate 2 thing and now you're making it about tits. It's like, okay, come on, guys. But so they just throw, like, everything against the wall against this guy. They call him a pedophile. They say he groomed his girlfriend. They say that he uploaded a picture of him jacking off 6 or 7 years ago online. That he's, like, emotionally abusive, and that he was apparently so bad to his girlfriend that now she does porn, okay? And like everything with these guys, there's like 30% of that has some backing behind it. I won't say it's like categorically true, but there's 30% where you can kind of point to stuff, and then the rest is what they would say is gilding the lily. Now, the thing is, these guys do this with everything. Everyone they talk about, like I said, straight for the throat, you're a pedophile. In fact, I'm not sure. You could probably count more guys that they have not accused of being pedophiles than that would be faster than listing all the ones that they have. So normally no one responds, right? Because it's kind of the wrong thing to do, right? If someone is throwing claims out that are ridiculous and everyone knows are kind of ridiculous, at least partially, and they're really damaging like this, making a big stink about it, especially when you have, he has got 300K subscribers here, but he's on some podcasts that are way bigger, right? Making a big stink about it to your audience that's almost certainly larger versus these guys who can't even be on YouTube, right? It's kind of, again, it's like a suicide felt, right? You're just spreading the claim. And that's why most people don't respond to Kino Casino, because there's nothing really to gain unless you're in the sector with them. Like Ethan Ralph responds, but Ethan Ralph is the king. Ethan Ralph has to respond. I mean, he's on Rumble. He's in the bunker of the Kandahar Valley on Rumble, streaming to 100 guys, right? So he might as well he punching up when he responds to these guys now, but. So Razorfist puts out this response, and to be clear, this is like 2 weeks after Kino Casino did their segment, where he goes through the claims, he does his best to disprove the ones that he can, and kind of copes over the ones that he can. Oh, I thought that said 1488 posts raw on Netflix. That would be tough. Tries to go over the ones he can, kind of copes over the ones he can't. But the big thing he says here is he essentially threatens to sue them. He doesn't just essentially, he does threaten to sue them. He does imply that there's going to be like legal action or whatever. Not just against Kino Casino, also against Smash JT, but I don't give a fuck about Smash JT. Kino Casino is more entertaining. They're also like more in a good position to be taken down a peg just because like they do stuff like this all the time. And there's a large community of people who really don't like Kino Casino for, I think, good reason, and it's not like a moral thing. It's not like, oh, they go online and tell lies, or I don't like them because they're far right. No, most of the people who don't like them because of Andy Worski, our friend right here. And this picture is the infamous AIM incident where he briefly tipped his toes into IRL streaming, and he decided to go IRL streaming with a guy with a gun and then order him to shoot someone. Just a classic sector moment. Again, that's what these guys were doing while Ethan and Hassan were debating about who's allowed to be on Twitch or not, right? Deplatforming these guys really moderated them, right? Really had the intended effect. Anyway, the point is that there's people who don't like Kino Casino for various reasons. Mostly they don't, like I said, they don't like Andy Worski because Andy Worski is sort of like Razorfist in a way, where he's been online long enough that he has his own skeletons in the closet. And also, there's two sides to it. There's the people who don't like Worski, and then there's the people who don't like PPP, who's the big guy, this guy. And the people who don't like PPP are almost entirely all ex-fans, which is kind of cringe. But, PPP's whole character before he got on this show is he was, the one honest man in Gotham or whatever. That's kind of the way he portrayed it, where like, I'm a member of the chat, a member of the Internet Mujahideen. I'm speaking for the guys who just spam the N-word in chat and do N-towers and whatnot. And I'm super principled and I sound like a preacher or whatever. And again, one of the reasons why people don't like him now is because he's basically completely reversed on all of that. He used to be like, you shouldn't be able to monetize online because you gotta love the game. And, you have to follow these rules of Kino Dogma 2007. And he went back on all that. Now that he gets money on the show and he begs and begs and begs. And it's literally 2/3 of the show. They do like 6-hour shows 3 times a week, of which 2 to 3 hours of it are literally just begging. It's like DSP, but more entertaining. Like, I'll give them that. It is an entertaining show when it works, but it's basically just DSP, but more entertaining. And, you have PPP goes back on all these supposed principles he set. Of course, the mistake was starting out saying you have principles anyway, and not just saying I'm doing this because it's fun, which is kind of the only way you can go into doing anything like this. If you're just going to be a guy who talks shit on the internet, you can't come in and say that you're lighting the way, right? Like I'm bringing it's like the ethics to a-logging, ethics to talking shit, right? And so, like I said, most of the people who don't like this guy don't like him because they're former fans and they feel like he betrayed them, especially the people who remember when PPP used to be one of the Worski haters. I mean, I might do a whole show just covering that like whole history. I'm just going to speed over it right now because it's not really relevant. But basically, there was a time when PPP would just stream his taking a shit on the toilet with his phone, talking about how Andy Worski deserves a bullet in the head for aborting his child, right? So to then have these guys then be on a show together, you can see that there's like a lot of whiplash, even though it's been going on for like 3 or 4 years now. So anyway, what I'm saying, I'm bringing this up because there's a lot of people, there are A-logs who don't like this show. There are A-logs who don't like Razorfist. And so they're all kind of eating good right now. I'm going to play some of this, his response. Let me break down the claims here that Kino Casino makes against Razorfist. And to be clear, it's not just Kino Casino. A lot of this stuff is things that have been floating around. They're in Razorfist, Kiwi Farms thread, etc. Claim number 1, he had a girlfriend in around 2015 a girl he was talking to who was under the age of 18. When she turned 18, he moved her out to live with him. And then they were together for some time. Okay, so that's like a grooming allegation, essentially. That's probably the worst one. That's the one that they used to call him a pedophile, right? Right to the throat. So claim number 1, he groomed someone under 18 and then moved her with him after he was 18. It's a claim. I'm not saying that's true. That's just what they're saying. Claim number 2 is that he took a video of himself jacking off and uploaded it to like porn stuff. At some point in the last 10 years, because there's a video where you can't see a guy's face, but people have, done the autistic Google foo to figure out to make the claim that that's him. Okay, that's claim number 2. Claim number 3 is that he was emotionally abusive to his girlfriend. Specifically, he's addicted to porn, and his girlfriend left him because he couldn't get the job done, if you know what I mean, because he was so obsessed with porn. And that led the girl to leave him, and that now she's in porn, and the implication being that he like mind broke her or whatever. Okay, so he's gonna cover the 3 claims here. I'm gonna play some of this. Does Twitter allow faster? Yeah, okay. Thank Jesus. These guys talk way too slow sometimes. All right. So, and he's gonna cover all 3 of those claims. Some of them more than others. Obviously, he's gonna focus on the one that I think everyone agrees is the most important, which is, did you groom it like someone under 18? And then I'll cover Kino Casino's response because, when you have 2 guys like this that are so different, where you have like the carnival barker entertaining guy who's a little more glib, high, like what Dick Masterson said to him, high verbal intelligence, versus Worski, who, as I already explained in the Ethan Rouse stream I did on the last Monday, he's just the intellectual titan of the sector, if you know what I mean. You can see how they sometimes have different responses when they're not on the same page, right? And Worski does an after show with one of his weird like Discord sex slaves called Joey Beezer, otherwise known as Psycho Gun Gear, and he's like fully doxxed. I don't feel bad saying that. So he'll do his own show after the main show and sometimes be off script, if you know what I mean. Like, he'll say stuff that that if these guys were together, PPP would be like, shut the fuck up, man, right? And in one of them, he kind of copes and has a bit of a meltdown after, not a meltdown, but he shows fear in his eyes. Like, Xerxes bleeds a little bit about this alleged lawsuit. So here's Razorfist's response.
One and only time I've ever addressed these fatuous accusations. On the subject of
And let me turn this up, because it's pretty quiet.
Defamatory nonsense, particularly promulgated by the Perma Online Brigade, I tend to hold with a quote from the great John Milton. The best apology for false accusers is silence, sufferance, and honest deeds set against dishonest words. But I also knew that while the accusations were libelous and shockingly simple to disprove, they were also entirely too lurid for some talent-bereft drama-humping half-wits not to make the mistake of attaching their channels, reputations, and indeed their entire career.
So I think the weakest part of this response, other than the fact that he's even making it, which could itself be a mistake, is that he's trying to make it like one of his like witty YouTube videos where he talks a whole bunch of shit or something. And the problem with that is it's like either this is serious and you're doing this because because he's talking about a lawsuit, right? And the problem with lawsuits is if you want to be a good plaintiff for a lawsuit, you kind of have to sound like a bitch. You just do. Because, like, the whole argument is that you're being harmed or whatever. So when he claps back like this and tries to act like a big man and how they're fat, like, all this stuff, it doesn't look good for any potential lawsuit. And I did do a little bit of reading on Canadian defamation law because I was wondering how much different it is. and we'll get to that.
Here's two. After which I would drop my reams upon reams of receipts and end their careers overnight. So I hope you fellas enjoyed.
Okay, that. You don't want to say that for a defamation lawsuit. You don't want to say I'm trying to end their careers for two reasons. First of all, you never want to make a lawsuit sound like you're trying to hurt someone. You always want to make it sound like you're just getting what you're owed. Okay, number one. Number two, are you doing this because you've been harmed? Because there's this thing called actual harm when it comes to defamation. It seems that Canada has it too, so I'll talk about it. But you need to prove that you actually, like, you've been actually harmed, not just that you're doing this to, quote, end their YouTube career. Like you see how these are two different kind of worlds that are colliding that really shouldn't. If you're going to, you either do one or the other. You're either, I'm going to pwn him in the online battlefield, or this is a serious matter, I'll see you in court.
The 2-week victory lap I allowed you all to have, because now karma comes to collect. And if you thought Pro Jared had receipts to prove his innocence, buckle up, bitch. Fortunately for me, I don't even really need all of that exculpatory proof to disprove the most serious of these claims, because as many of my fans have already helpfully pointed out, the available timeline already disproves them. If I were to allege that Elon Musk robbed a jewelry store on June 13th at 6 o'clock p.m., it seems to me step one in establishing or annihilating that allegation would be to check the surveillance footage on June 13th at 6 o'clock on the dot. So, as internet sleuths have already deduced, due to the age and birth date of the accuser, in order for this relationship to have occurred when they say it did, I would have had to be dating this person in, or throughout, 2015. Any later than this, and the
person he's talking about, obviously, is this alleged Latina girl that he supposedly groomed and then had move in with him. So he's basically saying if I was talking to her in 2015, or if I was talking to her when she was under 18, it had to have occurred in 2015.
Your timeline collapses. Fortunately for me, 2015 was also significant in that it's the same year I began streaming in earnest. The name of that series is Razorfist Arcade, and the entire thing is publicly available in a single handy playlist on my channel's front page, and has been since 2015.
Okay, but again, expecting Lard and Tard here to do like extensive research on your 15-year back catalog, it's like...
In fact, if you click on only the third video on that playlist, a live stream of the game Thief 4 that originally aired on March 18th, 2015, you can disprove these allegations within about 30 seconds. Because at that point in the video, a woman's voice can be heard.
Do you ever plan on playing or reviewing the original Dark Souls?
Yeah, I've heard the original Dark Souls is a lot better than 2. Hold on, there is actually... My lady just hurt herself. There is actually a way to get...
So his argument here is, I couldn't have been talking to the Latina girlfriend who was under 18 in 2015, because in 2015 I was doing streams with a different girl. Basically, I already had a girlfriend. So, I mean, it's not a terrible argument. Of course, someone could say you were just cheating. And the reason why that might be a little compelling is because... the claim here was not that he was having any physical relationship with the Latina girl in 2015. It's just that they were talking online when she was under 18, under the presumption that he would eventually move her in. So, it's not crazy to think that he could have had a girlfriend at the time while talking to this other girl online, waiting for her to turn 18 so that he could make the swap. I'm not saying that's what happened, but that would be a plausible series of events that makes this not exactly a magic bullet to get rid of that accusation.
The identity of the voice? My actual girlfriend at the time. A 26-year-old white woman with a high soprano voice as contrasted with the lower Latina voice of the accuser. She was my earliest co-host on Razorfist Arcade. She interacted fairly and warmly with my audience, hence why they affectionately named her Ladyfist, which is why I find it so unctuous that drama-humping douchebags found it necessary to write her out of existence.
That's a big word for a guy like this.
In order to forward a false narrative about a relationship I was not in at this time. One of the worst mistakes a defamation merchant can make when inventing a lie about someone is to include a third party in the lie who can gainsay your story. In this case, my current co-host and longtime editor, Taryn Gell, was there the entire time and can confirm I was with Ladyfist not only in 2015, but for several years.
Yeah, publicly. He could, like, I believe you. I believe you. You had a girlfriend at the time, okay? Cool. And there's other people who, third-party witnesses, like you said, your friend knows that you were dating her. The problem is, it is plausible that you were talking on the back end with another girl. Now, how do you disprove that? I mean, I doubt you have all the logs and shit from that. I mean, you might.
Thereafter, we started streaming in 2015.
Yeah.
You became co-host shortly after that. So there's streams from like February and March where she's the co-host. After you became co-host, do you remember her still being in the picture?
Absolutely. You would often see her just... This would be back in your old place, that she'd be in the back chilling on the bed. She'd go in and out or whatever.
Right.
But she was still there.
And she would chime in sometimes on streams.
Oh, absolutely.
Remember,
yeah.
right?
Well,
so,
you would invite her to.
Right. So would you say that she was still in the picture for like only a month or two after that? Or would you say that was like for a year or more?
Okay, so he was still with the girl.
Even after Taryn Gell settled into the co-host role, Ladyfist remained a fixture of arcade live streams, and the immortal murderer cast in the role of Margot Lane, as the credits will confirm, and your own ears will as well.
Yes. Okay. You've proven you were with another girl. Now, can you prove that you weren't also just talking? I mean, you're a big YouTube man in 2015. You wouldn't have been the only guy, right?
None other than Ladyfist.
No, take it easy, Commissioner.
It's easy for you to sit there smirking, Cranston.
He's not smirking, Commissioner.
My apologies, Miss Lane. I ought to have said leering.
That episode was uploaded on Halloween, October 31st, 2016. Over a year after every imbecilic e-drama dick holster falsely alleges I was dating the accuser. And before anyone argues, well, you're clearly keeping the relationship a secret from your public girlfriend. Okay,
Yeah,
that
okay.
almost makes sense until you remember that I wasn't keeping Ladyfist at all private from the accused. So why, in every defamatory screenshot...
Can you prove that? Can you prove that? Wait a minute. What do you mean you weren't keeping? What?
In every autism-infused e-drama video
From
in
the
existence,
accused?
in every defamatory screenshot,
Hold on.
Ladyfist at all private from the accused, and clearly keeping the relationship a secret from your public girlfriend. Okay, that almost makes sense until you remember that I wasn't keeping Ladyfist at all private from the accused.
Yeah, but she could have known that the plan was for them to... Dude, this happens all the time. Okay, this happens all the time, right? You have your wife and you're banging the secretary at work, okay? And the secretary at work, of course, she wants to be your main squeeze, right? So she's like, when are you going to leave her, baby? When are you going to leave her? When are you going to leave her? When are you going to leave her? Well, go watch Mad Men. This shit happens all the time. That could have been what happened. You could have been told her the whole time, like, don't worry. I'm going to kick out Ladyfist. We're going to break up, and then it's all going to work out, I guess. So that's not really... That doesn't... Again, the problem here is, like, who has the presumption of evidence here? Because I'm coming up with plausible explanations for how he could have still been with the other girl. The thing is, that doesn't prove anything. Like, these are just theories, okay? And, you know, that's kind of part of the biting in the ass of stuff that Kino Casino does, is that they present plausible theories or that are as, like, true, and that's funny. Like, it's entertaining. Like, they do as well as they do for a reason because it's funny. The problem is that there are certain topics where if you do that and you do it to the wrong guy, he's going to be like a he's going to be like a Moab missile pointed right at you and is never going to let it go.
So why, in every defamatory screenshot, in every autism-infused e-drama video in existence, in the long litany of defamatory and false allegations, he has not once yet claimed that I publicly dated another woman while I was supposed to be with the accuser on Razorfist Arcane live streams that thousands of people watched? Seems to me, Razorfist Arcane live streams that thousands of people be with the accuser on dated another woman while I was supposed to be with the accuser on Razorfist Arcane live streams that thousands of people watched. Seems to me that would be item number 1 on the list of douchey things I've done if even one of these accusations were accurate.
Yeah, so he's acknowledging that that's what he could have been doing.
There goes the timeline, there goes the accusations along with it, all after 30 seconds of research on a public playlist. 30 seconds of
Yeah, again, I mean, he's proven his point that he had a girlfriend at the time. You could think of a way that he could have been doing this anyway in the background, where he just had, like I said, he just had 2 girlfriends and was lying to both of them.
Research that Gash JT and the drama parasites on the Cringe Casino couldn't be bothered to do before obliterating the last waning rivulets of their remaining credibility by committing...
Okay, I don't know about Smash JT, and as far as I know, he doesn't have a lot of credibility. Kino Casino has no credibility as far as, like, actual quote-unquote reporting, as if you even want to use that term when it comes to the sector, right? But I don't know. Again, like, here's the other problem. This is like legal brain thinking. You don't want to imply they have any credibility to lose, right? Because if they have, like, or that they have no credibility. Because if he says these guys have no credibility and they've destroyed it, well, then it means that all of their claims are unbelievable, and it makes it very hard to prove what we'll get to when I talk about the 3 prongs of defamation here. One of them is that, in the sense that they would tend to lower the plaintiff's reputation in the eyes of the reasonable person, and that they were communicated to one another. Okay, so these are the 3 basic claims, and this is, I guess, different than in U.S. law, because in U.S. law, there's a sense you can be, like, defamation proof. But 2 sides can be defamation proof. The person you're talking shit about can be defamation proof in the sense that they're so bad reputation that, like, nothing you say can hurt them, except for cases of per se defamation. And then there's defamation proof on the other side, which is that, like, a figure is so known for being a liar and for nothing they say being serious that you shouldn't believe them. And so when he is implying that even before he just proved anything, these guys had very little credibility, you're kind of hurting your legal argument here. This goes, like I said, when you're dealing with something like this, you either need to go the legal route or you need to go the rageaholic, I'm the king of the sector, about to pwn them route. And he's kind of trying to do both here.
libel and ending their own careers, and all before I've dropped a single private receipt, of which I have many, motherfucker. But I know what you're saying. I don't believe Terrendale. After all, he's Razor's buddy. He's biased. Maybe
No,
he
I believe
hallucinates
him.
Latinas into white chicks in his spare time. Maybe he's misremembering her sitting by his side for over 3 damn
No, I
years.
believe him.
With full analysis, and I agree. So first, let's hear Ladyfist again.
There is no way you cried when Eris died.
I so did. I even have a soundtrack on my iPod, and whenever that song plays, I tear up. I have flashbacks.
But where's the accuser? All we've heard is one side. Well, fortunately for you, I have just the thing, and I think it'll help clear up a lot more than just a vocal analysis.
Okay.
Such as why these libelous accusations emerged at all, and
Yeah.
who, if anyone, was actually emotionally and physically abused in that relationship.
Do you think that I cannot hurt you without the power?
Okay,
of
so the
social
Latina
media?
bitch is crazy. We all know that. I have no
Another
dispute
threat,
about
very
that.
nice.
If I want to hurt your feelings and make you hurt.
I've listened to
What
this
the fuck do I
part.
need
Basically,
social
she threatens to hit
Wow,
him.
so
and
we're
it's
up to
just the
threat
same.
number
Okay,
5.
got it. So she's crazy.
Took a turn, didn't it? What you've just heard was an admission to and justification of a murder threat. One
Yes,
admission, she
yes,
threatened
she's
to murder
crazy,
my
got it.
wheelchair-bound father, my former roommate, out, might I add. On one occasion, she threatened to murder my wheelchair-bound father, my former roommate, who you all knew as Mormagil, and she even threatened to shoot and kill the dog we picked out together, Cicero. Now, that might seem
Whoa.
extreme, unless, of course, you've heard names like
White girl would
Jodi
never do
Arias
that.
or Amber Heard, because I learned, after ending the relationship following an actual murder attempt, that my ex had been diagnosed with BPD and HPD, and if that sounds at all familiar.
So, like, the problem with the diagnosis of BPD is, like, BPD is borderline personality disorder, so it's like you either have a personality disorder or you don't. I think... I don't like these terms. Just call her a crazy bitch. It's a lot simpler. Anyone can be... Both men and women can be crazy. Like, she's clearly crazy. This is, like, another thing where you're, like, confusing two motivations, right? Because... in a courtroom, they're not really going to care too much if... Okay, so let's say he really sues Kino Casino, right? The courtroom's not going to care whether the Latina girlfriend was crazy, because she's not really part of the case. They're going to care about, like, the custody of information that Kino Casino received. Like, why they think... Basically, why they made the claim and why they think the way they think. This whole thing is more of, like, an internet thing. It's saying, like... I'm the victim. I didn't do nothing. And the other thing is, from like a legal sense, let's say part of the defamation, because I assume that if he ever sued for defamation, it wouldn't be for the I was abusive. It would be for the grooming thing, because that's like per se defamation, so it's a lot easier to prove, because you don't have to prove damages or actual damages, which, like I said, we'll get to when we get over here. But if part of the defamation claim is they called me like a woman beater or emotionally abusive or whatever, just because you proved she was abusive wouldn't actually absolve him of that.
It's because it's the same cocktail of mental illnesses that Amber Heard has. At which point I studied the condition at length, chiefly with a book called Stop Walking on Eggshells, the introduction for which says in so many words, run! And after she attempted to make good on her threat to murder me, having already threatened to invent a panoply of lies about me to embarrass me in public, as you just heard her admit to over a phone call, I finally resolved to do exactly that. But even after finally extricating myself from this emotionally and physically abusive relationship, the threats of blackmail intensified and finally escalated to action. If you watch the Johnny Depp trial, you have some faint notion of what I dealt with for over a year. False accusations, which the accuser actually bragged about inventing and spreading, privately leaked recordings, absent context of any kind, where she suddenly puts on a little Bo Peep voice and pretends she didn't initiate an argument entirely, often with preceding physical abuse. It's Johnny Depp and Amber Heard all over again, and a baffling number of leering retards took Amber Heard's side without once engaging in the aforementioned 30 seconds of research required to disprove them, all because they were felted by a fucking tweet! I've seen screenshots of the Twitter hack that are now being bandied about as evidence of this. Problem being...
Hold on, did you just say felted? Felted is a Kino Casino term. Why would he be using the lingo of the guys he's saying are, like, evil and he wants to sue them? For anyone who doesn't know, felted is a term these guys... Well, I don't want to say they invented it. It's more like a chat thing, but they made it their thing. And the idea is that when you're playing blackjack and you've lost so much you run out of money and you go down to get another chip and all there is felt.
My ex actually refuted those allegations herself in other screenshots, which I posted as proof. So either she was lying on the first occasion, or she was lying on the second. In any case...
Or she was lying both times, which would fit with your narrative that she's insane. In any case, I don't think this matters.
A proven and inveterate liar, but the blackmail did exist. And here again, on the subject of the entire underage narrative being nothing but a coordinated blackmail and smear campaign, indeed, for...
Okay, so you're saying that... Okay, wait a minute. You're saying the underage narrative is blackmail? What were they trying to get? Because Kino Casino didn't threaten you. They didn't say, like, we'll call you a pedophile if you don't give us something.
An admission of the fact that all of my girlfriends, including her, were very much of age. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to believe her.
I haven't leaked anything. I haven't mentioned anything. I haven't messaged anyone. I haven't
you know.
The word for that is blackmail, when you threaten to do it. And that was my entire point to begin with, this crap about me being a predator and a pedophile. How freaking dare you? My girlfriends have been my age or older.
I know.
But here's the hilarious part. It's all...
Okay, so for like an internet feud thing, that's pretty good proof. I would accept that. Her admitting that she wasn't underage. For a defamation claim, it's a little tough because you did just spend, 5 minutes of this video discrediting this witness, the Latina girlfriend. You spent all this time calling her mentally ill, which it sounds like she is. I'm not doubting that. But you see the problem there is that it's called impeaching a witness. If you impeach a witness, you can't then turn around and say, here's their testimony, believe it. Right? You can't bring the witness up and then say, this is a crazy person. They lie everything they say. They have threatened to lie about all sorts of things and will go on a dime, depending on what they think is in their interest at the time, and then say, also, they absolved me because I said this.
All irrelevant. Not only did we prove that the entire timeline's impossible without a flux capacitor and plutonium, not only did the abuser in question admit to death threats and blackmail, not only did they admit they were of age while publicly lying that they were not, but, by the grace of God, I had only just begun to return to my faith at the beginning of this relationship.
I wouldn't bring this in, man. Again, this is like why I titled this that he's doing this on behalf of Melanie Mac, because Kino Casino was like shitting on Melanie Mac, and then that made them shit on him because he was like defending her and everything and pretending to be like this born again Christian. And it's like, dude, what I'm saying is the authenticity of his religious experience is already in question by a lot of people. I would not bring that into this story where you really kind of need to be be solid, you know?
And so, after multiple live-in girlfriends and physical relationships, I finally felt the conviction to actually wait until marriage. I have no defense. I'm simply a sinner.
Okay, so his narrative here is that the story, like I said, one of the claims was he was emotionally abusive to the Latina, and he was addicted to porn and wouldn't have sex with her, and that made her go off. So he is now saying that it's not that I was addicted to porn, it was that I was a stylite monk, and I wanted to wait until marriage. Does this guy look like someone who 6 years ago when this was occurring, before he had said anything about religion, before it had become trendy again, before all that I don't know, man. This sounds like cope.
Oh, I intended to marry her, at least the person she was pretending to be, through a BPD technique known as mirroring, wherein they ask a lot of questions and they seem really curious and interested in your life, when in actuality they're assembling a composite personality of all of your likes and dislikes, which they then project back at you like some kind of mirror mask. A BPD abuser has no personality or empathy of their own, and they exploit yours. The victim of said manipulation is left to think they won the jackpot, at least initially. In my case, I thought I had a traditional Christian wife willing to wait until marriage, and then, a month in, the mask started to slip and she became openly abusive, both emotionally and physically. And so, for all the allegations of grooming and gooning, for all the dimwits and dipshits typing the words, "he slept with a child" in their thumbnails, not only was she of age by her own admission, I never proposed marriage, and thus, we never slept together. But once again, I do not...
Yeah, what about the gooning claim, dude? Because a core to this is her claim that the reason you didn't sleep together is because you were addicted to porn. I don't know how you're going to disprove that. Then again, I don't know how she can prove it now that she's discredited. So, this is the other problem, is that a lot of the stuff that Kino Casino claims when they talk shit about people really just comes down to the most entertaining narrative. And what I mean by that is the actual reputation and standing of all these people in this sector is so low and trivial and is unimportant that generally you can get away with claiming anything as long as it's entertaining. And I kind of like that. At least as far as everybody's on the same page about none of it mattering. This is kind of the mirror image to the Hassan H3 debate, where they think that they're going to solve the Palestine war in the discussion. Like they're that important. This is like the total reverse opposite of that, where everything is so trivial and nothing matters at all that you can just basically write it like WWE and invent whatever you want. This is why I said that Ralph is right when he says everything is wrestling. And so, in a situation of strategic ambiguity, like the nuclear weapons of the High Elves, where we don't really have affirmative proof that you didn't bang her because you were addicted to porn, and we don't really have affirmative proof other than, the words of two unreliable people that you didn't bang her because you're a Christian now, people are just gonna pick the funny one, which is you're addicted to porn, you know, man. Like, and this gets back into the ideas like, why even respond?
I want you to take my word for it. Instead,
I mean, look at this. This already has 700,000 views on Twitter. How many follows does this guy have? He's got almost 200k followers. How many of these 200k had never even heard of the Kino Casino before he put this video out? I know there's Smash JT as well, but like, I don't know.
Exactly what you've already been doing. I want you to take her word for it without any proof or research of your own of any kind.
If anybody were to come up to ask me and say, hey, how's Razor? How's living with Razor? Oh, he's a lying piece of shit.
Except that's not
wait,
true.
Are you still a virgin? Yeah, I'm still a virgin. Oh, but I thought you lived with your boyfriend. Yep, still a virgin.
Weirdest groomer ever! A relationship that requires a time-traveling DeLorean to actually occur, culminating in no sex whatsoever because we were both waiting until marriage. Saucy stuff, folks! I can see why you'd want to torpedo your entire YouTube career, attaching your credibility to
Torpedo? These guys aren't on YouTube. Again, I guess he's talking about Smash JT here, but...
But what about the most salacious allegation of all? The ones Blandy Worski and the Diabetosaurus next to him were shaking their
that was funny.
talentless tits about for 20 minutes at a stretch, blissfully unaware it was the prologue to the end of their YouTube career. A decade!
Again, they don't have a YouTube career. They have a clip channel, I guess. But, like, these two guys are so radioactive that they could not be on YouTube. And they've both been off YouTube for as long as Ethan Ralph, right? Like, it's funny seeing a guy like this who's like on YouTube, is pretty normie, like pretty mainstream, is so out of touch with the undersector, like the sewer of the internet that you have to go to when you get banned everywhere, that he thinks things like YouTube career and reputation for these guys is like this is the least damaging avenue to go against these guys because they already have no reputation.
Long discredited screenshot from a porn website that no longer exists, featuring incorrect doxing information that's grainier than the Zapruder footage. By all means, let's dive in.
I'll be real. I haven't watched the video because I'm not gay, but like I've looked at the analysis of the aspects that aren't pornographic, like the Google foo. It's pretty bad. Like, I think it might be him.
Because while you world-smashing web sleuths were spending all the 5 seconds repeating lies on an e-drama website whose own page includes a disclaimer that it is, quote, an online humor and satire source, and thus that you shouldn't take anything said therein even the slightest bit seriously, I did some digging.
Uh-oh. Why did you do that, buddy? That was the worst thing you could have just done for your case. Well, one of the worst things. You realize you just made Kino Casino's argument for them, right? Because, like, if you were to sue Kino Casino for saying that he's in this porn footage, and in court, Kino Casino says, well, here's the source we cited. A source that says it's not true. It's like, so are you actually asserting this as a fact, or are you being explicit about it's like does it fall under satire, essentially, like public, open and notorious satire? Again, this is a great argument for like internet points, right? It makes them look silly. It makes them look like liars, right? It makes them look whatever. But as far as proving that they're actually like asserting a claim, which is like the key part of defamation,
of my own, and I didn't have to dig far. You see, the allegation is these videos are not only of me, but the proof is that I uploaded them myself. Now, as an author, I would say I have a fairly distinct authorial voice, marked by bizarre Victorian nomenclature interspersed with the odd peppering of profanity.
Cringe.
So in doing some research, I discovered that the video in question was actually uploaded more than once by the same original user on that porn website. And
the slut load incident.
Examining the description of said video, I would imagine my unique grammatical style would be impossible to camouflage. So let's dig in.
Oh, wait, is that his argument? That the video title and description on Slutload isn't refined enough to be him?
First video entitled
This is not a good argument. I just wouldn't talk about this.
Carrot head, self-deprecating sort that I am, goes on to say, quote, I am that coward, capital C, who have...
Okay, but the argument would just be that, like, you have a weird humiliation fetish behind the scenes, and that's why you put it this way. This is so bad. Why bring attention to this claim, especially, and show the website it's on? You know what's going to happen now. Anyone who didn't know about this is, like, and is a weirdo is going to go look it up. I can't believe his argument is the description is I'm far too intelligent. I would have written a way better description to my porn.
Of nothing to do, just to sit at my cam and review stupid games, capital G. This is the video of my jerking off, capitalized all. Oh, but now here's a curious cultural artifact for any actual Americans out there, because what follows is a phone number that's not only incorrect, but written not in the American, but the international phone number format, meaning with a plus sign, followed by a country code of 1 for America, followed by an unspaced, unhyphenated phone number thereafter, as we in the hinterland of Arizona are so inclined to do. Of course, I remember this video even better than that, because back in April of 2011, the self-same barely literate troll uploaded this false video to YouTube and linked it to my fans. See, back then, YouTube listed each and every one of your subscribers on your page publicly, so said troll was able to scroll down the list and DM it to them at whim. Some of you rageaholics may still remember this. And so in April of 2011, I shut my channel down only briefly in order to protect my own fans from being spammed by this spurt, as there was no other way to hide my public subscribers. If you're wondering, by the way, why my channel was founded in May of 2009,
okay, so but what if you did upload it for real as some weird humiliation fetish thing? Some troll found it and then was like, oh shit, jackpot, and then went and sent it to all your subscribers. Like, that could be possible. Not only that, but he's still not addressing the core claim, which is it you in the video? We can get into the weeds about who took the video, we can get into the weeds about who originally posted it, but like, even if that wasn't you, if it is you in the video, it's still pretty bad.
Date before April of 2011? Mystery solved. I had to re-upload them all. Mind you, the video was promptly removed, but the account was still up long enough that I did nab a screenshot of some of the reactions at the time. And it's in combing over the account in question that we see more sterling examples of my writing style. Quote, I'm Daniel Razorbutt. Some know me as Donkey Face, Carrot Head, Dumb Shit, and ... But I prefer Jerkaholic. Yeah, I do believe you cracked the case of my illicit gay porn career, Columbo. You should roll with this narrative without doing any research
Yeah. Like, obviously he's being sarcastic here. It's like, oh, you look so stupid from... Yeah, but it's funny. I talked about this earlier. It's like, on this... In the gutter, man, you run with whatever narrative's the most funny. Most of these guys are not used to getting legal threats, which is why it's kind of funny to see how they respond to it now that they are. But... this isn't known, man. Like I guarantee you the way they're going to respond is just going to be, like, mad. Like, you know, they're just going to be like, whoa.
whatsoever because you're cranky about a tweet. In fact, you should attach the final remaining micrograms of credibility you still possess on your person to push in this piss poor nonsense and accomplish precisely nothing in the process but utterly embarrassing yourself being caught, once again, lying about strangers on the internet. But we expect laziness and libel from these cum-burping bitches. No one whatsoever...
He undermined... we expect this from them. Okay, then you can't say anyone was tricked. Like, that's the problem, is if you say that nobody takes these guys seriously, no one believes anything they say, then how are you going to prove that anybody was tricked?
Surprised when Glandy Worski peers out from the coke cloud, flanked by an anonymous autistic asteroid who, if chins were brains, would rule the fucking world, pauses momentarily to comb an e-drama website that openly admits to lying its dick off from dawn to damn dusk, all to tank the remaining relevance of the Diabino Casino. And as for Dash...
I mean, his insults and stuff are funny. Again, if this is just, like, him striking back, this isn't a terrible video. The problem is he attached this with a legal threat.
JT, the fart huffing hack who honestly confuses himself with an independent journalist, such that he's still spurging about stolen scoops, that if his character in this instance is any indication, he likely stole from someone else. Also, he could slap white text on a wildly original thumbnail and express socially acceptable opinions on the 8 entire members of his imbecile...
Okay, buddy, you're the one who decided to magically go from being a Satanist to Christianity the minute it became, like, culturally relevant within your sphere, so you're kind of doing the same thing.
Audience, well, what you lack in talent, you make up for in chromosomes. Look at the bright side, bud. I've ended bigger careers of infinitely more talented individuals in a 5-minute rant.
Who? Why wouldn't you say who? I mean, I'm not like a Razorfist expert, but I don't think that's true. I think that this guy, he does his rants and people move on, right?
Only took me 30 seconds. Walk it off, asshole. I hear they're hiring at IKEA. And the receipts you've heard today are only the tip of the shiceberg. I'm holding the...
Never say that either. Don't say, I actually have more. It's like, just drop what you got or shut the fuck up, man.
Real goodies back, just in case a crazy person decides to be the latest Me Too accuser to lose in court. But publicly, outside of the courtroom, this is the first and last word I have said about this easily debunked bullshit. On with the rants.
Okay, so as just a, like, responding to the drama,
this will be the...
Poning the cringe casino, this is a pretty good response. I think he makes... He disproved the stuff that he really needed to, which was the grooming thing, as much as he needed to for a format like this. Like I said, the problem comes when you get into the legal threats, because a lot of the way he goes about it here is not the way you would go about it legally. And so Kino Casino responded. I'm probably not going to play all 20 minutes of this, because half of it is probably just going to be them screaming, "Whoa, buddy!" And then Worski sniffing coke. But We'll get through. I just want to see. I just want to see how shook they are, if at all.
Mention we have the groomer fist situation.
The groomer. Okay, guys.
The groomer
Okay, so we're no retraction here. We're still calling him Groomer Fist. Got it. Okay.
fist
I
situation.
want to talk about it
Oh,
now.
Danny boy, Danny
Want to
is
relitigate
grooming
this?
minors.
I'm gonna
Telling
sue you
them
guys.
to
So it's funny how hyped up Worski is. Let me play this clip first, actually, because it kind of puts into context why he's trying to act like this. You know, we're gonna fight him. We're gonna battle, because this is not the first time he actually responded. He responded on, like I said, his like private after show with his sex slave. I think it was 2 days before this here, and he sounds a lot less confident. And you can tell that what happened is after he does this clip I'm about to play and sounds kind of scared, PPP called him in the corner and was like, "What's up, buddy? Why are you sounding scared? We gotta put up a good face. My high elf lord and master Gabe Hoffman says that he's gonna fund our lawsuit," or some crazy shit like that. And I'm not just saying that out of pocket. Gabe Hoffman did repeat the claims. So for some reason, this guy who has nothing to gain, this like wealthy high elf from California, has nothing to gain by inserting himself into this, has decided to. So here's Worski's initial response.
We read some tweets and like made some jokes. And then it's like, okay, that's it. Move on. You made your part, you know? That's it. So I don't have anything else to say. Like, if there's going to be like a legal issue, like reach out to us with your fucking shit and we'll retract if we lied about anything or whatever.
Okay,
but
so yeah. So the 2 days before, he's already talking about retractions, right? He's already like getting ready for the retraction. And then here, he's like, "I'm gonna fight you at the beaches."
grooming minors.
I'm going to
Telling
sue you
them
guys.
to read Lolita. Like, the guy is insane to bring
But
this shit up.
Oh, that was the other thing. There's a claim that he made said girlfriend that they're claiming he groomed to read the book Lolita, which is weird.
Boy,
Dad,
Danny boy is
it's
getting
so
bent
fucking-
over.
Daddy,
Guys,
it's so
don't
crazy,
worry.
the whole fucking
We're too
scenario.
busy tonight. I'm like,
Why, it's just like, oh my
why
God.
aren't you talking about it? I'm like, can we wait till Monday? We're actually like doing people who matter.
Listen, Danny, you activated our tribe card,
Oh,
buddy.
buddy.
How about you debate Gabe Hoffman,
No, he blocked
buddy?
him. He blocked him.
I know, he blocked Gabe and ran away from our Jew.
Well, he's
What's-
like,
Yeah, so Gabe Hoffman he's from California. He's a high elf. He's wealthy. He made a book, or he made a documentary called An Open Secret about pedophilia in Hollywood. I can't attest to whether it's really all that great or not, but you know, he's like an actual guy. Like he's not in the sector, except for when he wants to be. He's like forced himself into the sector, I guess. And for whatever reason, he decided to, on his own like official open secret account, which, like I said, is like attached to pretty mainstream conservative type people, reiterate all the claims against Razorfist and say that he's not afraid of him. It's like, you go from supposedly exposing or like contributing to exposing mass pedophile conspiracy in Hollywood to ensuring like to Razorfist, bud. Like, okay, let's say Razorfist did groom the Latina. That's bad, right? He should suffer consequences for that. But is this like, who are we saving? Why does open secret, this collective this reputable name in this issue, now coming after Razor? It's weird, and I honestly think it's gonna sound crazy. I think it's just because he's unironically a fan of Kino Casino and he wants to defend them, which is weird coming from a guy like that.
he's like,
What's
oh,
going
that's
on there?
liable because he backed us up.
Then sue him. You
And
know?
then he's like, well, I'm going to sue you. And then Gabe,
So that's the strategy: is you get Gabe to reiterate the claims so that Razorfish sues him and not you guys. That's great.
doubled, tripled, quadrupled down, and got blocked. And don't worry, guys, we're going to watch the rebuttal.
The
receipts
Well, I'll just
that
say
are retarded.
this. The receipts, it's like, well, guys, I had a girlfriend during that time, so I couldn't be talking to this girl.
You were proven to
You're
be cheating
telling
when
me
your girlfriend fucking tweeted from your account.
What did I tell you? I told you that they're just going to run with the narrative that he had a side hoe. Because it's the easiest thing to say, right?
You're telling me that no guy has ever had side hoes before?
Yeah.
Cheated on his
What did I just say?
woman, especially as an E-celeb, Danny? That doesn't fucking cut the mustard. That doesn't fucking prove anything. By the way, it's like, oh, this bitch is crazy. Yeah, we know. She's...
Well, why does he have to, like, again, this is what I'm saying is there's like when we take this battlefield into the digital trenches, the the burden of proof is all over the place, right? Which is different than in a defamation case.
Slept with you.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some fucking screws loose
She
there,
was
Dan.
18.
But here's
You
the
flew
thing.
her out.
What do you think happens when you start dating and fucking teenage girls, Dan? Do you think it's going to end good? Do you think it's not going to be a crazy shitstorm of drama and insanity? Then you've got, apparently, when he records her on phone calls, that's okay. But when she records him, it's unethical and out of context. And it's like,
I don't think he even made that argument in the response. I don't think he tried to clutch straws about, or clutch pearls about who records who. I think he just tried to show his evidence.
it's like, but Groomer Fist, how about you release the full audio recordings so that we have the full context of it? Because if this goes to Discovery, which this guy doesn't want this to go to Discovery,
course not.
he's going to have to turn over all these recordings of this girl. She may be called to fucking testify
That's not going to happen.
on the stand.
That's not how
This
that
is
works.
Danny's worst fucking nightmare. So Danny, like, you really got to
months
stop.
later?
You really got to stop and think about, like, why are you even doing this? And I think the reality is,
Yeah.
the guy is just desperate. You look at his numbers on YouTube, they've fallen way the fuck.
I don't think this is about numbers. Buddy, like, this guy is in a whole nother league from you people. He's got 200K Twitter followers. He's got just his main channel is like 500,000, and then he's got like 3 podcasts, right? I'm not even trying to say Razorfist is some, you know, like the tip of the spear of the internet right or anything. I'm just saying that, like, you're comparing apples and oranges here, man. I think the reason he's responding is because you're calling him a fucking pedophile. Like, and I even said I don't even think he should be responding. Like, it just isn't strategically wise. But I can understand why, if there was any claim to respond to, it'd be this one.
Fuck off.
160K a month views.
On your
That's
600,000
our 48 hours.
subscriber
Low.
channel?
That's our low 48 hours.
I honestly, I think he just wants to get into drama because he's desperate. This shit for us is way
Coming from these guys, he's just desperate for drama. It's like not a great thing for these guys to be saying. These are guys, like I said, these are the guys who, the minute anything happens to anyone, they fire up a stream, they start screaming like it's the end of the world and call everybody a pedophile. Like,
in the rearview mirror.
For
You
us,
and Melanie
it was
Mack got
Tuesday.
fucked. You know what I'm saying?
For us, it was Tuesday.
But
For you,
this
it's
guy's
your life.
been holding on to this shit for months and months and months, just seething and malding and plotting his revenge.
Well,
which
Ash,
made him look fucking retarded.
Ash, it's even crazier. The receipt video came out on YouTube months ago, but then
No. He uploaded it privately, and then he's been waiting. My whole thing
What?
is this, Dan. If you're so confident about this video with your receipts, why have you not posted it to your
Unprivate
YouTube
it.
audience? Unprivate it, and then let everybody make their own decision. But you want
well, because of what I was saying, he doesn't want to spread the claims by rebutting the claims. He does not want the, like, because you gotta figure, like, a guy like Razorfist who's been on YouTube for 15 years, like, he's got a lot of dead subscribers, and he doesn't want, like, any dead subscribers that are maybe like zombies, like they could sometimes come back and watch a video, to see the why I'm not a pedophile full explanation .mp4 type video. Okay, that's why he's not putting it on YouTube, because he's trying not to spread the claims any more than he absolutely has to.
to try and contain this situation as much as you possibly can because you're worried, because you're fucking guilty in this situation, bro.
Okay, so defending yourself makes you... I don't even know why I'm taking issue with the way they're presenting this. This is just what they do. This is just what they do. And, like, it's one of these things that it is entertaining when it's cut down like this. Like, watching the actual show is kind of unbearable sometimes. But when it's cut down like this in the clips, it's pretty entertaining. And, you know, it's like WWE, where you just kind of, like, have suspense of disbelief and you kind of watch the storylines go. But, you know, it's sort of like playing stupid games and winning stupid prizes, where it'll like juice your numbers, and like I said, people will like it and it's entertaining and whatnot, but eventually it's going to bite you in the ass. And I don't know if it's going to be this time, because this is like, somehow, for some reason, they're getting Gabe Hoff, like the open secret guy, involved, and he might be the guy who gets thrown under the bus, but eventually it will, like, bite you in the ass.
Bro, you look fucking bad. That's why you're not bringing it to your larger audience. You're trying to contain it to Twitter.
Especially because, you know, I told you that especially PPB has kind of done a flip, where most of the guys who don't like him because he betrayed all of his principles. You can kind of only really do that once. You can, like, flip once and kind of get away with it. Some people can't even do that, like IDEPS. But the idea that once this does bite them in the ass, this just general content strategy, that they'll be able to flip again, or he'll be able to flip again, unlikely. Now, if he's smart, he'll have made his bag by then, and he'll ride off into the distance and never come back online. But I don't know, man. Especially like PPP, a guy who's been online in the sector for over 10 years. It's like, can that guy really just like log off?
And you're trying to silence
Could he
people with lawsuit
physically do
threats
that?
and this and that.
We'll bring it to YouTube.
We're not
bring it to
we're not intimidated by you whatsoever, Dan. And we'll go over the whole thing again. This was all publicly available information that came from your ex. Okay, so if you want to sue anybody, sue your fucking ex.
No, because most of the stuff about this, she didn't say publicly. She would say it like in the background of a streamer, like it's a stupid point he just made. No, you wouldn't sue the ex.
But you were too afraid to even say
They're
her.
not like you are a public show with like a middling, like an audience, some audience. I'm not going to say it's big, but it has an audience. His girlfriend was not. It's not like she went on. If the girlfriend had come and done an interview on Kino Casino and told the whole sordid tale and made all these claims, maybe, but no.
Her name
Yikes.
in that video. Her name is Eve, Dan. But you were too afraid. You just referred to her as the accuser. Why don't you go through and litigate the whole thing on your YouTube channel, get into all of it, release all of your audio recordings, and then we'll talk about this shit. But as far as you launching like 4 different defamation lawsuits,
Smash JT, us.
Don't you still live with your parents, Danny?
Yeah,
And by the way,
apparently, allegedly.
Danny is out there like making crazy claims that his docs isn't really his docs. Well, I guess I'll find out when I
Well, of course he's going to say that. You never confirm your docs, even if it's real.
get served the legal papers, no? Because you're going to have to put your fucking real name on it, Dan. And you're
What, are you implying that when you get him, you're going to leak him? Because that wouldn't be a smart move. Because he's going to get your info, too. If he really does sue you.
going to have to put your fucking address. When he claims that naked guy isn't him in the video, come on, man. It's obviously fucking you. And that phone number in the fucking video, so far as has the same area code as Phoenix, and it's your fucking phone number, your dad's phone number, bro. But we can go over it all in a careful way. We have to make sure, we don't say anything that, hurts Danny's feelings, and he's going to go to court. This guy talked about how he's for freedom of speech. He's a champion of speech and expression. When he goes after people, when he goes after Disney, when he goes over this or that or whatever.
Yeah, but I think most free speech people, like even myself, I said this during the Hassan H3 debate, that I agree with drawing the line at like imminent threats, which is where the Supreme Court drew it 100 years ago. I think it was Oliver Wendell Holmes. And also, like, I do think there's a place for defamation, and the U.S. has the hardest defamation law. Like, it's harder to sue for defamation in the U.S. than anywhere else. The problem is when you guys are calling him a pedophile, that's per se defamation. Like, there's a couple categories of claims that are considered so bad that you don't even have to prove and this is just in the U.S. This might not be it's probably not how Canada works, but I'm just saying on a principle level that you calling him a pedophile is like a very rare case where like he kind of has a right to respond. Maybe should respond and like right to. Like, I don't think he's a hypocrite for being a free speech guy and telling you to stop calling him a pedophile.
It's fine. But the moment somebody criticizes him, he immediately runs to lawfare to try and sign.
Well, he didn't immediately run. People have been making these claims for 10 years. Literally 10 years. Like, this stuff has been floating around him for a while because he's been on YouTube for 15 years. Skeletons in the closet. So,
silence people.
May I
it's
say
funny
this?
how that is.
I think this is important to explain too. So how this started when he made the response video was to smash JT watching us and making a video about it.
YouTube. That's on you because you're scared of all of the dirt that came out against you, and you've been in hiding for.
You're scared.
I come in and be the enforcer. It's like, okay, well, let me pull your card. Looks like there's a lot of unchristian behavior on this card, Dan.
Yeah, and I agreed with that. I think that people are right to be suspicious about his conversion because of the context. But that has nothing to do with this case.
You know, that's what it was about. It's like you want to be the
That
moral
has to do with, like, pwning an internet guy, not with a defamation case.
arbiter now and decide what adults can and can't see.
Okay,
How
they're
you're
talking
on
about the
audience
porn
to see
games.
it.
I already,
Okay?
whatever.
That I think that you're a fucking groomer and a fucking creep and you're a fucking weirdo and you don't have the right to tell everybody else what they can and can't see because you.
Yeah, well, maybe not the smartest thing to say, because before you could have made the argument that you weren't claiming any of this. Encyclopedia Dramatica is, which says that they're a parody site or a satire site. And I got on Razorfist for this because he pointed that out. And I was like, oh, there's kind of a ready-made defense here when you say stuff like that. But he kind of just nuked it if he was ever going to make it.
You found Jesus last Thursday when it was really convenient for your grift.
Okay, well, PPP, for a guy who talks... For a guy who likes to quote the Bible, I'd like to remind you of the master of the vineyard, okay? Who, rewards all the workers, okay? Even the guys who show up late, right? Because there's a room in God's house for everybody, as long as you true faith, and depending on your denomination, there's like sacramental aspects. But my point is that I understand why people call into question Razorfist faith. Ultimately, that is something that's going to be decided by God. But for you to now come out here and say, because you became a Christian last Thursday, it's inherently a bad thing, is you know, this guy is like a sola scriptura Church of Christ type guy. You know, it's not a good look.
But where were you for Christ the last decade?
Yeah.
You know, your entire life, bro. The zeal of the convert, dude.
And this whole thing, right. End our streaming career.
The zeal of the convert is not why he wants you to stop calling him a pedophile. The zeal, you could blame the zeal of the convert on the whole video game gooning thing. Okay, sure, whatever. And I actually kind of agree with their criticisms on their position about that. But you are conflating that with what he came in and swung back at you guys about. Because he didn't really swing back about the whole point in video games thing, because it's clear that you just have two different understanding, like strategic. There's a strategic difference without a principle difference. And of course, this is the mistake Kastan and H3 make, is they let the strategic difference make them fight. Whereas it's clear that you guys just disagree about what's, you know, the strategic value of complaining about porn in video games, which is why he responded to you calling him a pedophile and not that.
Buddy,
good luck.
Good luck, buddy.
Good luck, bro.
This is our job. Our job is battling with people.
Even if, brother, like we lost the lawsuit or whatever, Alex Jones is still going. You think suddenly we're just going to stop doing our jobs?
Right?
You don't want to say that.
You
don't want to start saying like I'll keep repeating defamation even if I lose, like proven in court. Definitely, like by that point it would have to be if you lost, right? You don't want to say that.
Fuck off.
Because that could be implied as I won't respect a court order.
Shit, he's a pussy.
Fuck off with you, bitch.
Well, I hope you're happy. You've opened the door. Don't worry. Now you're at the.
Is he even aware we don't even stream on YouTube? By the way,
it doesn't even matter if we did.
Yeah, I pointed that out. That was kind of a self-felt, as they would say when he said that.
It doesn't matter.
Heard it anyway. Like, I don't know. They just pretend like the stakes.
Like,
I don't. It's what we're gonna do with our games, bro. It's just like I don't give a shit about Christ. They don't care. Like Razor, where do you?
But neither do you. I mean, this guy is at least as big of a fake Christian as Razorfist, and we could have a whole stream about that. But I kind of want to play Oblivion. So the last thing about this defamation thing, I read as much as the sample allows, which is the first 2 chapters of a practical guide to the law of defamation for Canada, and basically all I wanted to do was check like 2 things, which is there an actual harm standard in Canada, which there is. You have to prove actual harm. Now, that's not too hard for internet stuff. Basically, you just need to collect a bazillion comments of people calling him a pedo. So, but it does matter, because if there is no actual harm standard, it makes defamation way easier, because then you don't even have to prove that anything, like that you were actually harmed, right? And the other thing I wanted to look at was whether truth is an absolute defense, because that's an American thing, and there's a lot of European, like Australia doesn't have that. It's wild. And when I say truth is an absolute defense of defamation, when I explain this, it seems so common sense that, like, why would this even have to be said? But like I said, there are places without this, where in the US and in Canada as well as right here, if you can prove that your claim is true, you cannot win a defamation. The other side cannot win. So if they called Razorfist a pedophile, and they were able to prove in court to a preponderance of the evidence standard that he is a pedophile, even if it did all the damages, he could prove that the claim damaged him or whatever, then he could not win. And that makes sense, right? It's like, if you say something true, you shouldn't be able to say, like, call that defamation. Now, like I said, there are places like Australia where that isn't the way it is. In Australia, you can say something true, get sued for defamation, prove in court that it's true, and still have to pay out damages, which is insane. Which is funny too, because there's actually a Australian defamation case I might talk about, the Billy Mitchell, Carl Jobst thing. I'm trying to say just BST because he got justed, but it doesn't work. It only works in text, I guess. But in that case, I don't even think the truth of the claim did come into it, but it wasn't. It was more, the issue was that the guy making the claim knew it wasn't true, which that's a different standard. So anyway, basically, the reason I wanted to know those 2 things was, if Razorfist was to sue them, number one, he'd have to prove actual damages, which is not trivial to prove. And defendant, so Kino Casino or Gabe Hoffman or whoever, could defend themselves by proving the claims. Now the question is, which claims would he sue for? The porn video, probably not a winner. Don't sue for defamation on that. I didn't bang my girlfriend because I was watching porn. Again, that's not a winning defamation claim. Now, I'm a groomer, claiming that he's a groomer. That is a good thing to sue for because it's pedophilia. Claims of pedophilia generally is like per se defamation. It basically means that there's a lower standard for proving harm. So yeah, to be real, I don't think they're going to get sued. I think that Razorfist is just talking shit. At least I was sure they weren't going to get sued until Gabe Hoffman decided to come in and repeat a bunch of these claims. And he actually has money to take. So there is like an actual incentive to sue him. And I don't know what Kino Casino told this guy to take this middle-aged, high-elf movie producer and have him insert himself into this freaking thing, but it's pretty funny. That would be the only guy worth suing. And the other problem is, I guess it's because he's in America, so the standard would be higher, so he's less scared. Because even though Canada is actually closer to America's standard than ours, it's still not quite as strict. Okay, last two things before Oblivion. So two quick things on Creator Clash. Last we left our heroes, iDubbbz had, quote, relinquished his equity in Creator Clash. I still haven't heard confirmation about what that means. I'm starting to think that he just got paid out, that he just got someone to buy out his equity, and so he just ran off with the bag. But this other guy, Freddie Wong, is one of the other fighters, dropped a message in the fighter Discord, basically asking all these questions, all these concerns he has are just the most and I'm not saying this insults him, I'm saying like this is how bad the event is, are the most common sense things that you think would have been worked out months ago, or at least there'd be some kind of policy for. So I'm going to read this. I hope everyone's getting a good rest day in. In the wake of the new announcement video detailing the change in ownership structure of Creator Clash, so that's iDubbbz relinquishing, or to be more accurate, the brief statement detailing changes in the ownership structure of Creator Clash, followed by 28 minutes of continued relitigation of what I'll charitably call internet nonsense. That's the other funny thing, is that he attached this like an official announcement for Creator Clash to a 28-minute drama video, and it's like, so you want this event not to be tainted by your drama, and then your only promotion for it, the only time when you're talking about it, is in the drama video, right? There remain some lingering questions. Communication with the fighters to be the absolute top of the priority list. This is so funny because Anissa's whole claim for the last 3 years has been that she's the full-time like fighter correspondent, that she texts them every day and makes sure they're eating their vegetables and all this shit. And he says here basically, we have no idea what's happening. No one communicates with us. What the fuck, okay? And he says that I've learned more from the event from muckraking Twitter accounts than from you guys. Great. You can't have your cake and eat it too. This is pointing out the fact that, you know, he says that he can't both run the event and be a shit talker, but then puts announcements about the event in the shit talking video. So it's like... You're not actually separating the reputations. Comment miasma. Basically, there's a chilling effect from all the fighters where they're like, do I even want to tweet about this? Because I'm going to get drawn into the Palestine war. You know, it's like, I just want to tweet about my boxing event, but I'm afraid that all my comments are going to be filled with Hamas blowing shit up. I totally get this. I'm sympathetic with this. It's like, if you're just these random YouTubers, why would you want to even promote this event when now it's become battleground in the third intifada? Okay, so projected timetable with replacements. Obviously, like I said, the headliner dropped out and Lena dropped out, so they got to figure out replacements. And apparently, they haven't even been told the timeline on that, which is wild. Pay parity. Okay, so I didn't mention this in the videos because it's developing, right? So basically, in the first Creator Clash, there was asymmetrical payments, as in different people got paid different amounts. Harley then wanted that changed. He wanted guarantees that everyone would get paid the same. and he was told that that was going to happen. And then about a week before he dropped, he found out that his opponent was getting paid more than him. So there's just complete confusion over whether this is the policy or whether it's not, or whether everyone's just lying, all right? So that's what he's asking about here. What the fuck's going on with that? Market and promote the event. It's so funny that the event is in like a month, right? And he's not even asking like what's the next promotion strategy. It's so let's make a plan to have the conversation for what the plan for promotion is. And this just fits into what I was saying before about how there's just no promotion, no plan, nothing. Accurately so the website hasn't been updated, and he's like, you probably should do that, especially considering that might like get into false advertising claims. He doesn't say that. I'm just speculating about that. He's like, I am sympathetic that it's hard to run an event, but you guys are retarded, essentially. I mean, obviously, I'm presenting this meaner than the way he puts it, but this is what he's saying, like, if you read this. Okay, so that's number one. This is Tubbo. This is one of the fighters. Probably one of the, now that the headliners dropped out, like, I think this guy has, like, 3 million subscribers, so, like, at least platform-wise, he's one of the biggest.
Did you see what's going on? I don't really know what's going on. Like, I was told about it, but I don't really know what's that. Let me find it. I actually don't know where to find this Twitter account.
He doesn't even know how to find the Twitter account.
Does anyone have the Twitter?
He can't even find the Creator Clash. This is, like I said, this is their biggest fighter now. 30 days out.
Tweet. Can someone find this tweet? Yeah, the official account, I literally can't find it. They, like, never tweet. Can someone link? Thank you. Chad has got me. Chad has got me covered. No, yeah, what do you make of all this stuff? I was told about it, and I was like, what?
This is the tweet where announcing that Anissa and Ian are bailing. They're pulling the ripcord.
What? So, Ian and Ansia?
You can't even say your name. And this is, so he can't say the name of the person who, for the last 3 years, has made the claim that they are the top person looking out for the fighters, talking to them every day, whatever.
Sold the event, I think.
Okay. Whoa, sold the event. Okay, so this is another guy who seems to think that they just got paid out.
To Real Good Touring, which are the people that run the event. And I'm like, okay. I don't really know why this is a big deal. You know what I mean? It's a PR thing due to the Ethan and Hassan situation. What even? Mate, I actually don't know what's going on anymore. I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of context minus. Can someone hit me with a context wagon?
I don't blame him that he doesn't know what's going on, but it just goes to show how, like, little planning, how little coordination there's at all.
Because, like, the more I look at this, the more I don't really understand the concept. I'm like, okay, that's cool. They sold the event, but then everyone was like, this is the worst thing to ever happen. Well, because this is the worst thing to ever happen.
Because they're selling the event because it's been completely dumpstered, lost half its fighters, and everybody hates them. All from actions that they took. Again, it's like being the captain of the Titanic, and then you hit the iceberg, and then you get in a lifeboat before anyone else and get the fuck out.
And I'm like, what? They just sold the event, bruh. So no fight? No, I think it's still going on. They told me that everything would be the same. I'm still doing my training and stuff. I just don't really know what this means. I haven't kept up with anything. I haven't really kept up.
Isn't it crazy that this guy, this is like his first reaction to it? So the implication is that he wasn't told behind the scenes, like, hey man, we're going to drop this statement. This is what it's going to say. Don't be surprised. Here, let me answer all your questions, whatever. It's like, no. This guy is as much in the loop as we are, and he's now the biggest fighter as part of it.
With any of it ever, like, at all, really. This is just like me. This is the first I've seen of it, like, in the event I'm fighting in. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, everything I've heard about Real Good Touring is that they're very, very nice to work with. So that's good.
Yeah, if only we were working with them since the beginning, or like they were the... This would have been so much better if they had done this after Creator Clash 2, after the disaster, and they had relinquished then and then given it over to a real company who would have done all this shit that they weren't doing.
And hey, man, I signed my contract now, so I'm kind of locked in, you know? By the way, did they ask you to promote the event? Yeah, of course. I've responded to every tweet they've told me to. I gotta do my part. And
So
also,
there's
like,
no plan.
dude,
Because he's
don't get me wrong,
twice
it's
or
a
something.
charity event, but like, also, they're paying an incredible amount of money for this shit. Like,
What?
you know what I mean? Why would I not?
The official story was that they were just getting paid stipends to pay for training and stuff. Now this guy's talking about it like it's an amount of money where you're being paid, like you're going to make a profit.
Respond to the tweets they wanted me to and promote the event. Like, don't get me wrong, they pay for a lot, bro.
Incredible. So that's that. Basically, for these two stories, what would need to develop is everybody else dropping out of Creator Clash or whatever. And for Razorfist, we'll see if he's actually going to sue anyone. I still lean towards that he's not, but it's definitely more likely now than it was before. All right, I'm going to take a piss, and we're going to play Oblivion. Okay, gamers. We're back to Oblivion. So, we have the Flame Atronach. We just aren't high enough skill to use it. I did mass level myself up last time with Alchemy. So I think we're just going to keep running around until we can cast the spell. Oh, is the game crashing? I hope so. Oh, nope. Okay. What active effect do we have on right now? Why am I glowing? Oh! I have proto-vampirism. Okay. And we only have cure poison. Alright, let's see if we can fix this. I'd rather not be a vampire, actually. Looking for cure parade. No. Cure. Do we not have it? I guess not. Okay. Well, we got to get back to town before we become a vampire. Yeah, okay, so I've noticed that before when I was playing on my, like, single-player character. This game has a tendency to, when you have, like, a effect applied on you, like poison or whatever I just had on, the visual for it will stay after it's over. And then if you, like, heal yourself, basically if you apply one onto another one onto yourself, the effect goes away. I don't think that's a bug in the original game. I think that's newly introduced. Monkshod root. I don't imagine that this is cure disease. No. Damage intelligence. We could so alchemically induce CTE. Damn, we got some crazy screen tearing. I wonder why that is. I wonder if the game is going to implode if I turn on VSync. Look at that. I feel like I did not have that before. I guess it's only on my end, though. Which is not really what matters. Derelict mine. At least we actually kind of look like a... Oh, look. Your money or your life. No.
This is a holdup. Hand it over or die. Easily done.
Get him, zombie. Get him! Come on!
Show me what you've got.
Oh. Actually hit me. Come on. 2 more hits. You got him. You got him. You got him. You got him. Fuck! There we go. Zombie sucks so fucking much. And I guess I should... He did win. So maybe I shouldn't say that, but... Just barely. I mean, this is the... This is literally the worst part about playing Mage. Is just the, is the encumbrance. Because if you're playing a warrior, like from the very beginning of the game, you have like 300 carry weight. Did I already read this? I did, so I don't need this. Cheese wheel. Hold on. Hold on. We can use some of these ingredients. And then I bet you the potions will be less heavy than the sum of their parts. There we go. Alright, how much did we save? Wait, we gained weight? Okay, well I fucked that up. So the potions do weigh more, alright. Fine, I won't take the steel warhammer. Fuck you, bandit. Hey, we leveled up though. Oh. Okay. Screen tearing on this is terrible. You know, my friend sent me a quote from Digital Foundry where they said that this is like the worst running game ever made. Let me read it, actually. I have it here on my phone. Because it was really funny just how like poorly optimized this game is. And that is the biggest barrier. Honestly, having played a lot of this game now, if you're a fan of Oblivion, I actually kind of do recommend this. Like, like, alone. Like, let's confine our judgment just to it being an Oblivion remaster. It does make Oblivion a lot more accessible just because it looks better, but also...
No time to talk.
It makes, like, the adventuring experience pretty good. But it runs so poorly that... Like, I would not take a risk on buying this game unless you are absolutely sure you can run it. Let me find this quote he found. Okay, listen to this. Walking around the game world induced big stutters each and every time a new world grid would load and deload in front and behind the player. History repeats itself with this week's brand new remaster, and it's perhaps one of the worst running games I've ever tested. It's wild.
Good day. I'm here to relieve you.
For a channel that's like entire job is just to run every single game in like every single permutation, for them to say it's the worst running remaster. I mean, Monster Hunter Wilds just came out, and that game runs like shit, too.
What can I do for...
Oh, this is the necromancy lady. Or not necromancy, necrophilia lady.
What makes you think I'd know anything about that? But it just so happens...
Because I'm racist
I've
and
run
you're a
into
dark
some
elf.
sanguine worshippers
And I know you
up
guys
in the
worship
Imperial
Daedra.
Reserve, a long way northwest of Skingrad. Can't give you any better directions, unfortunately. Traveled mostly at night with a...
Okay, so apparently...
May I interest you in some of my fine
open
wares?
about it. Accuses me of being racist for assuming she would know. Immediately tells everything. 1,400 gold. Come on. I guess this is why I need to... Actually, do you just have the ingredients? I'll just make one myself. Cure disease. Okay, so mandrake root. Resist disease. Cure disease. Here we go.
I let that go too. Tell your friends goodbye.
And there we have it. We could have paid 1,400 gold, or what was that, like 40? Where is it? There it is. There we go. Oh, let me reset. There we go. Okay. So we will not become a vampire. I always forget that. Whenever I play this game, I'll like just be running through dungeons mindlessly and then accidentally become a vampire. Like leave, go to sleep, and then become a vampire. I'm glad it's at least still in this. And I actually do like the way this game does it, where it's like there's different stages.
Not so loud.
It's not just like
What
you
can I
get
interest
touched
you
by a
in?
vampire and you become one. Unless, like, you, or it's like a surprise
You got
or
a great
something.
deal there. That seems
like,
a fair
develops.
price.
What I would do, honestly, is I would make it so there's actually more than just 2 phases. But, I don't know. That's just me being, just wanting more shit in the game, I guess.
That's more than I would usually.
I always say that. That's more than I would usually.
You drive a
Well,
hard
if
bargain.
that's the way you usually do it, then it's not more than you would usually.
A pleasure to serve.
Yeah, I know it's a pleasure.
You too.
I know it's a pleasure to look upon the visage of Justin RPG, peddling his flawed topazes. Alright, now we need to go to the Mages Guild so we can level up. There it is.
Go ahead. Adriana may read too much, but you should see the summon spells she taught Vigga.
I like summon spells.
Necromancy may be legal in Cyrodiil, but few will openly admit to practicing it now that the Mages Guild has banned it. Ah, no, that's Adriana's Good day.
Alright, let's see where we're at here. I almost kind of want to put at least a little bit in strength just for the carry weight, but yeah, I guess I will. We're already at 70 willpower and intelligence. There'll only be a few more levels before that's capped.
Go ahead, please. Adriana The guild can provide you with some... I don't mean to gossip, but he is...
Yes, he's crazy.
Archmage Traven is the first to take such a hard stance on necromancy. It upset more than a few people. May I interest you in some of my fine ways?
It's funny because that Trajan or whatever, the new Archmage, he's like canonically retarded. Like he's canonically like really incompetent. Because everybody talks about it. Everybody you talk to in the Mages Guild, they're all like, he's incompetent, he's incompetent. But he was also the one who decided that he was going to be the one to ban necromancy.
You too.
What do we have as far as... Okay. One thing that I would like to get is some stuff to help my summons.
Have a look at my wares. I'm sure there's something to suit you.
Like, something that is not on self, essentially, is what I'm looking for. Now, this spell, in the original game, telekinesis would trigger the Atronach's absorption, and you could use it to just get unlimited mana. I don't know if that's still true. I guess it's only 100 gold, we might as well try.
I appreciate...
Let's see.
Be seeing you.
Alright, you see where we're at for magic? Now, also, to be clear, I think you needed a certain level of mysticism or something for the, like, math to work out. So, it could be... I could be wrong.
Greetings, Conjurer.
Okay, now it looks like it does cost.
Well,
Wait.
if it was Urgok,
Now look, is our mana going up?
good animals. Good day.
If it is, it's going up so small that I can't even. It doesn't matter.
Is it me, or is it quieter around here? Earthor missing.
Okay, so I don't know if they fixed that or not. I'll have to. What school of magic is that? It's mysticism. Well, our mysticism is going to go up just because of soul trapping. So we'll check that out later. It also just might be a different It might just be the telekinesis spell, not remote manipulation. Like, it has to say like it's a specific one of them. I'm not sure. Where? There we go. Also, I guess we should sell some of our spells here.
What?
Or not our spells, our our pots. The fatigue ones that we don't need. Also, what do you got?
May I interest you in some of my fine wares?
Like I said, I'm looking for touch to heal. Shield on self, no. I want either a touch, and it's going to be a touch. It's going to be healing touch, I think is what it's called. I think I actually already have it. But ones like that. No, I don't have it. But that'll let me heal my zombie.
I trust you. Can I interest you
Now,
in some
one
of
thing
my
I
wares?
wonder is, I actually don't know if you get skill for healing your summons. Because what I would do is, I would make it so that if you apply effects on your summons, it increases conjuration. Because think about this, you get conjuration XP every time you summon something. But if you keep your summon alive, you're going to summon it less. But you don't want to, like, what I'm saying is you don't want to punish players for being clever, right? Okay, these are all too high level.
Bye.
What can I interest you in?
No, this must be the Destruction
Bye.
City. The Destruction School of Magic City to be like this.
I trust you have.
Yes, you have a mission for me.
I'm afraid I haven't given it much thought. I'm rather busy, you understand. My research occupies nearly all of my time. Now that I think about it, I do have a small problem concerning Earthor.
I'll let her finish.
He's one of the guild mages here. Think you can do something about it?
Sure, whatever.
Excellent. I just don't have the time to search for him again. You might want to ask around and see if anyone can be...
You know, all of these games that have magic, or like organized magic, because there are some RPG settings where magic is like is not organized, and some of it when it is. And obviously this is a setting with a mages guild where it is organized. They always associate magic with kind of the way we think about universities now, where there's like, quote, research. But very few games actually show the research. Like, what does it look like? Because there's like two kinds of research it could be. It could be trying to find new spells through some kind of the principles of the way the magic works. And of course, that kind of research is really harmed by settings that don't have specifics about the way the magic works. So like, for example, D&D is pretty specific about the way the magic works. It's like a combination of materials, gestures, and words. And you can kind of imagine a scenario where you associate certain energies or outcomes with just different gestures, words, and materials, and by making new combinations, you make new spells. Kind of like chemistry, right? Like, most of the original discoveries in chemistry were literally just guys, like, eating, combining weird shit in a lab somewhere, right? Often to, like, their own danger. And that would fit into the concept of research being dangerous. So, settings like this, like Elder Scrolls, that are really ambiguous about exactly the way the magic works, don't do well when you talk about research. But that's not the only kind of research. Like I said, there's two. The other kind of research that they sometimes do is more analogous to the way it is in real life, where it means like books, essentially. It means like writing papers and doing scholarly, like more strictly scholarly type research. And I will say that even though I say that Elder Scrolls doesn't do a very good job of the first form of research, the like kinetic chemistry type research, it can do the latter type.
I hear that the Nords of Skyrim
Morrowind does that. There is a quest line in Morrowind where you're working for a Telvanni mage, It's in the Telvanni quest line, which is probably the best quest line in the game,
They say
where
that
he's
when
trying
you
to
live,
solve
the Dark Brotherhood
the
comes
disappearance
to
of
you
the
in sleep.
dwarves.
That's how they recruit new members.
And the reason you take this quest is because basically in the Mages Guild, or Telvanni, or the Mages Guild, or whatever, a guy doesn't want you to advance any further. So he just gives you an impossible mission, which is just solve dwarves. And in so doing, you find this guy who's made it his whole life research to solve the dwarves, and you go on quest for him. And what his research entails
He hasn't
is
shown up here in a while.
Bleak Flats Cave. It's scholarly.
Farewell.
So like you have to find these books, like super rare books.
Take care.
And then one book helps you find the next book. And what ends up happening is you go through some dungeons. There's still some dungeoneering. You go through some dungeons. You get the books. You read the books. And the books don't directly tell you the answer about what happened to the dwarves. They come up. It's like Morrowind, where there's like different theories and they put things together.
What can I do?
Then you go back
It's just
to the
northwest
guy
of-
who
that's
gave you
where
it as a
Urthor
joke,
wound
right?
up. After Adrian told him you
And
might
you can
want
kind
to
of
make
you get a
sure
couple
she
bunch of
remembers,
options for
especially the
explaining
part about it being
like what
her
conclusion did
idea.
you come to. And it honestly feels like the closest
Good
thing in
luck
any of these
finding
games
Urthor.
to like you were writing a dissertation and in college. Because you go and you consult the sources and you do some dungeons along the way and you have to read the books and then you are given like almost like a multiple choice test from the dialogue options. And if you pick the one that's the closest to like what it should be, you get a reward. Now, it's also possible to just go talk to the last dwarf, but that's like a main quest thing.
Well,
But anyway, that's like one of the only quests in a fantasy setting that talks a lot about, quote, research for magic that's felt like research. That felt like actual scholasticism.
Go ahead, please. A nice enough guy, I suppose. Somewhere else. So we settled down in Bleak.
Yes, Bleak Flats Cave. I know.
I'm here to help if you need me.
So why... Sorry, I was too busy explaining a whole different quest line, so now I'm fucking this quest line up.
He's always writing in that little notebook.
You're here about that recommendation.
I guess I'm kind of proving my point about the difference
I'll need to
between
speak with
Morrowind and
Urthor
Oblivion
before
is
I
that
write
I've
it.
completely ignored this quest. I barely know what's going on. I just keep hearing Bleak Flats Cave, so I know I have to go there. While I'm talking about this other quest in Morrowind where there's no quest markers, there's nothing, it's just solve the biggest mystery of the setting, and you have to like put all these pieces and books together to come up with a thesis, essentially, by the end.
Oh, I do remember telling him to go there. Well, we'll just have to do something about that, won't by we, I mean you, of course. I have something that may help. I'll be here when you...
Okay, well, I got a spell. You know, I know she's supposed to be mean or whatever, but she's the first person to give me a spell like that. That's useful. I guess it's weak fireball, so it's probably worse than the one I started with. Let me look, actually. The descriptions can be very deceptive for the spells in this game. So Burning Touch is 10. Flare is 6. It's 5. Wait, why does this have a range but the other one doesn't? Okay, so check this out. Fire damage on target 6 points, right? So that's let's look what that looks like. Okay, so that seems to go very far. I'm not going to say unlimited because it's kind of a flawed experiment with the wall there, but so let's check. I mean, we're surely more than 5 feet.
Someone needs to teach.
Okay, so this goes that way too. Oh, is it that it does damage in a cone? Or not a cone, like it's AoE. We'll test in the cave. It's like a 5-foot radius, because that's not what that symbol looks like. This is something I should know. This is something I should just know, but, and 3 seconds? 3 seconds of what? That does 5 damage per second, like for 3 seconds. This is a DOT spell. I don't think it is. One of the other problems is because of the way the custom spell system, and this is in Morrowind too, so this isn't just an Oblivion thing, is they'll let you apply effects that don't do anything. So like, it is very possible that what's going to end up happening here is both these spells are the same. It shoots a fireball, it does X damage, 5 or 6, and that's it. But one of them has a field for whatever the range is, the arrow, and duration, even though those don't actually impact it at all. Okay, I'm turning on VSync and seeing what happens. You see a creature. We're going to test these 2 spells. Nightshade. I want this for poison. That's the other thing that I should do. You can do some crazy shit with poison in this game. You can make poisons that literally do like 6 trillion damage every second. Would you rather watch a tree grow or a knee grow? So if it's at night and I'm in a city and the knee's growing on the same sidewalk as me, I'll probably cross the street. And it's not because I really know anything about that growing knee. It's more just because there's all these statistics you can do in your mind, and you're rolling the dice, right? That being said, if I was in a college, like if I was in a university environment, and I'm at like a party, and I see a knee growing, they're probably just whatever. Like I wouldn't really think much of it, because you're selecting for a safer subset of growing knees. Okay, so this is deranged zombie. Oh. So this does a DOT anyway. Which one is this? Okay, so this is a DOT. Get him, zombie. Oh, he already died. Rip. And that's how we came in. Eagle Scout orientation, once again. Can't even make it past the first frickin' room. Damn, it's a deranged zombie versus my zombie. So since this is a DOT, I think this is actually better than the one we have. So it was useful for her to give that to us. Even though the implication seemed to be that she was giving us something pointless. And these are zombies, so they should take more damage to flame. I know I talked about this last time I played that. I don't even know if that's actually a... That's in most RPGs, is that fire resist dead. I don't actually know if it's in this one. Get him. Get him. Get him. Take him out. Show him what the real deranged zombie looks at. That's right. This guy, this zombie has won more fights than Ian. He should be in the next Crusader Clash. Crusader Clash. That's like the 3rd time I've called it that. Wouldn't that be such a better name? Crusader Clash instead of Creator Clash? Be cooler, that's for sure. Where's my zombie? Wait, I already put this on hockey, didn't I? There we go. See? I planned ahead. But yeah, the way I would do it is that every time you heal your summon, you would get Conjuration XP. That way it motivates you to actually buff your summons. Because like I said, it's kind of counterintuitive, because if I was to buff my champ here, he would die less, which means I'd summon him less. So I guess you save well, no, you don't save magic, because you're going to spend magic buffing him. Is there anything down here? No. Just a pit. Pointless pit. Get him. We got a choke point here. Get him. This is your time. Get him. Another champ. So I guess my zombie has like the exact stats of the deranged zombie, because he like wins by 1 hit every time. I don't know how useful that is to know, considering these deranged zombies are going to be leveled up soon. Get him. Whoa! We got both of them. I mean, I helped out a little bit on the other one. Damn, man. Looking slim, pimp. Where's the treasure? There's been nothing in this dungeon. I guess it's because it's a quest dungeon. Let's drink our potion. We might have to do a potion run soon. Oh, hold on. I don't want to steal. There's an RPG would never steal.
What? I can leave the cave? Oh, thank you.
This is a new voice.
I'm ever so grateful.
Well, it's not a new voice.
You're heading back to Skin.
This is the same voice actor
maybe
as...
come with you? It'd be safer, I think. So, what do you say?
This is the same voice actor as the guy from Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. Hold on. You're about to get a deep cut. Watch this. What is this guy's name? He's the guy who's on the, he's like the second character. He's like the protagonist. He's your friend. And he like turns to Rosh Pennon. It's a weird name. Rosh Pennon. Alright, check this out. I'm 100% sure.
Gene, get down! There's stormtroopers in the clearing. Maybe you should, check it out. You're the one with the lightsaber, after all.
Yes, the guy who cut... yes, the guy who cut Rages into being evil. Alright, so you just heard his voice. Listen.
Oh, thank you. You're just too kind.
Like, this is him.
I'll be right behind you.
Well, I'm glad you're still getting work after 10
Skin
years.
Grad. Safe and
Jedi Knight
sound.
Jedi Academy is a freaking amazing game. I love that game. Yeah, he gets he literally simps for like punk rock early 2000s Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline GF who lives on a desert planet and is trying to resurrect her E-daddy Marka Ragnos. And that's what happens. That's a pretty accurate plot summary. And so Rosh turns to the dark side for her and then gets immediately bodied by you. It's like here lies Rosh Pennon. He never scored. So yeah, I guess so. This is a new voice actor. This guy Rosh is not in the base Oblivion. They did say they added some voice actors. So what is this male Bosmer that he got added as? The other one that they got added, and I'll try to find an example, is they added Joshua Graham from New Vegas. He's also the narrator in L.A. Noire as a male Dark Elf. I noticed that when I was playing before. Let's see if our grapes are back. A couple of them. Let me try to find a male Dark Elf here to prove my point. He's got a great voice. I mean, obviously Joshua Graham is famous for a reason. Did he get ahead of me?
Yes? It's you. Hi.
Alright. Not to be a
You
dick.
need to see Ugak if... Goodbye.
There you are. Stay with your buddy. Buddy system, bud. Yeah, let me find, there's got to be a male Dark Elf around here somewhere.
What?
Damn, everyone hates me. How could you hate a face like this? Just an RPG. It's because they condemn his love of flame astronauts. They think it's unnatural.
Greetings.
Because it is.
Afternoon.
Welcome back, buddy. Alright, give me my quest reward.
Hello. You're here about that recommendation.
He's right here.
Have Earthor see me when he gets back.
Report
Associate.
life.
Wondrous encounter. Welcome.
That Danis Artilian is a little too full of himself.
Okay, so you thought this guy was dead. He
Sure,
disappears.
he's
He
a
walks
captain
through
of
the
the
door,
guard,
and you
but
start talking
I'm
shit
not
about
impressed.
Danis Artelian.
Can't stand someone who's so full of himself.
Damn,
Someone
bitch, you
needs
live
to
like
teach him
this?
a lesson.
I've heard others say this. What do you want? I've spoken with Earthor, who
Yeah,
seems
about
to be
nothing to do with
all right.
anything.
Good work. As I've said, I'm rather busy. I'll get you.
Alright, whatever.
Farewell.
Someone has an opportunity sextius. I'm sure it's just a rumor.
Hello. Let's go to a tavern. If there's a dark elf, male dark elf anywhere. Oh, I guess I could go to Breville. There's a lot of dark elves there. Which doesn't really make sense because Breville is not on the border with Morrowind. You'd think they'd be in Shaden Hall. Actually, I think there are some in Shaden Hall. Was this Maglair?
Interesting. Go on.
No.
Well met.
It's you. I'm Elsie Godhater. Yes, I hate the gods, all gods. They can all bite my garters. And if you don't like it, you can bite my garters
Tell me
too.
you have daddy issues without mentioning your father once.
Goodbye.
Sorry, lady, but it wasn't God who made your dad hit you. He made a choice. Don't blame God. I guess you can in sort of like a created the universe sense, but you should also be happy that God made a universe where people can make choices to begin with. Including the choice to hate God, which is the choice that you've made, which is the only unforgivable sin. So, it's tough. It's to think that you cannot be saved. Alright, so where is Shaden Hall? We're on a dark elf, male dark elf hunt. I wanna find this voice actor.
How I'm Tilly. You too.
I've killed far worse than you.
How are you?
You don't know shit
Not
about
bad.
me.
I'm Maknok
You're really not pushing
the
back
Riverside
against the
groundskeeper.
concept that
Rogmesh,
orcs are
my
inherently
wife, is the
violent
cook at the big house.
by just randomly coming up to me
Enough
and saying
talk.
that you want to kill me, or that you could kill me.
By what right do you disturb? Naspia calls
Damn,
my
all these people
great
hate each
skill
other.
to
Just
play.
listen to them screaming.
It's a shame she doesn't compete in the arena.
I understand her parents are against her competing. Oh, quite
She's
a
a very
shame.
demanding teacher. Goodbye. You can
Stop
learn a lot from
Conversation. Goodbye. Stop talking. A little late now. He's had your old conversation. I'm on this quest for I'm just trying to find a male high elf so that we can listen to the voice actor. I think I passed another tavern.
How can I help you today, friend?
I should just keep doing what I was doing until we'll run into one eventually. And we have to get the recommendation here. I'm just gonna keep walking back and forth up and down the street. So there's the Fighters Guild. Am I blind? There it is.
What is it, Sarah?
What is it now?
Good day.
Oh! Isn't this the one with our, with Trayvon?
Farewell.
Everyone put your Skittles away.
Go ahead, please.
Hey Trayvon, how's it going? Do you like the watermelon?
My progress through the ranks here will be slow. My prejudices against
Oh
certain
my
types
god,
of
I've already
combat
heard about
limit my
this.
chances for
Buddy,
advantage.
I'm not gonna join your hashtag movement, okay? No offense, but like, I'm trying to make my way through the ranks too, and I don't think joining your cause is gonna help.
Daedra cults aren't necessarily evil, of course. In nearby Morrowind, for example, they worship Daedra in the temple.
Yeah, how'd that work
the
out for
Azura
him?
shrine north of town, up Lake Arius Way, for instance. I know a dark elf there. Nothing evil about him.
Oh, I guess I could go do Azura and get Get the infinite soul gem. I'll use up the soul gems I have and then go do that. Because that's an
If you're
easy
looking
one.
for the most powerful spells, you'll want to speak. You'll have to get one from Falcar if you... Some say that Traven is Can I interest you in some of my wares?
Aren't you Trayvon? No, you're not. Well, it's Traven and Trayvon. Heal major on self. Self. I don't want self. Oh, is this the quest where you have to get the ring? I think it is. I'm just going to get this because I'm going to need it for that. Well, I don't need it. I don't need it. And this. You want feather. Ease burden.
I appreciate your business. Take care.
This is one of the heavy ring underwater. Just incredibly designed quest. I can just imagine the playtesters, how many of them died. Smashing their single-digit IQ points together, trying to figure out how not to drown. Oh, look, it's still... He did need it. Are you for real, dude? I try to reach out to you. I relate to your struggle.
Good to see you.
You know, Justin RPG is shunned, too, for loving Daedra. Just loving them in a different way than you do. And you just leave my watermelon there? That's wild. Damn, man. I'm starting to think maybe people don't like you for a reason. And it's got nothing to do with the way you treat Daedra. Alright, where's the bed? Where's the bed that's not taken? Now where? Am I gonna have to go through a loading screen? Avoid loading screen challenge. Impossible. Okay. Give me the suicide quest now. I wonder why Trayvon was awake at midnight.
What is it, associate? Sounds like the Skingrad branch of the guild. Don't waste my time if you're not ready. Very well. There was a particular ring of burn I was testing some time ago. If I didn't know better, you will retrieve this ring. The well is locked, so... It's not a normal ring. I believe I explained your... Do you understand? The guild is still powerful in Syria.
No wonder Trayvon is on
poor
edge.
decisions in the recent past
His
have
boss
weakened it.
sucks.
Perhaps killed it. We shall see. I am the chapter head of the Cheydinhall Mages Guild. It is quite an honor, but they had no choice, since I'm the only semi-competent one here.
Why can't you pick up a fucking ring, bud?
Without recommendations from the... By all means.
Right.
Well,
good day.
You know, I'm starting to come back to in your favor,
Go ahead,
Trayvon. If you got to deal with this idiot all day, I can kind of see why you're on edge.
Falcar always has been pretty harsh. I think he even scared away the last associate who came here for training. What was his name again? I can't remember. Archmage Trave. Be seeing you.
I hope I can help. I heard that one of the We can talk, so long as he gave poor Vidkun the same task. And do be careful. Here's the key, and something extra. And if you find out anything about... Just perform the task He was an associate, just like... It's like he dropped out of existence.
Like he
Our
fell down a
hall
well?
doesn't offer much in the way of training. It's all right. The guild here. Bye.
See, these were the good old days when you could send your employees to their deaths and have no liability. The engines of progress were greased with the blood of Vidkins. Alright. Where's this troll wing? Okay, so this quest is kind of broken by this change. So in the original game, when you're over encumbered, you can't move. But in this game, you can, just slower. So I bet you could just make it out. Okay, what are the potions she gave me? I mean, I have that spell, but... Okay. I guess she just gives you water-breathing ones. I couldn't remember if she gave you a burden one or a water-breathing one. Well, but we can just do this. I'm still over-encumbered, really. That's how weak I am, look. But yeah, look, I can move, so I could just swim out. So this quest is kind of broken by this change. Before you had to make a choice. You either had to be able to have a burden spell, or just leave the ring.
A coin for an old beggar.
But yeah, look, we can just walk slow. Huh. If it was up to me, encumbrance wouldn't stop movement. It would just give you a massive combat malice. Like a sliding scale one. Because everybody hates that. Everybody hates when they have 1 pound over the limit or whatever, and then they're either like walk super slow or can't walk at all, and it just feels like it stops the pacing of the game.
I'm afraid some things have happened. Oh, just drop it anywhere. I don't... He's dead? Oh, Volkar must have no... Thank you for letting... I'll admit, it's my doing. I couldn't leave well. I'm just so tired of the way we've all been treated by... He was furious when I told him I'd helped you. And then when I threatened to report him to the council, he flew into a rage. I don't know if he ever wrote your recommendation. You should check his room in the living quarter. It's such a... Take care.
I wonder if there's anything useful you can do with this ring. It's not even worth anything. Yeah, they really didn't expect you to actually be able to take it. And I wouldn't have been able to if you can't move.
Good to see you. What?
Alright, Trayvon. Well, your former boss was killing people, but he's gone now, so you better freaking get your attitude adjustment. You better eat that watermelon by the time I come back, now that your boss is gone and you have no reason to be grumpy. Why did he have 2 black soul gems? That's sus. Can I keep them? I could use them. That's what we want, by the way, that scroll. Heal other. Obviously, we don't want it in scroll form. I mean, it doesn't help. Or it doesn't hurt, but...
Well met.
A pleasure to speak with you.
Alonwi. Isn't there a, someone else called Alonwi in another universe? Isn't there an elf in Lord of the Rings and the Silmarillion called Alonwi? Hold on.
Gene, get down!
Oh, we got Rosh again. So there's Elwë, obviously. It's one of the gods. No, it's not the Silmarillion. There's something else with someone named Alonwi.
It sure sounds like Falcon. What can I interest you in?
Anything good? Nope, but we're gonna sell you some of this. Oh, I forgot to download the mod to give him more money again. I guess it's we haven't really run into a use for it yet.
Thank you for your... Be seeing you.
What's this? Oh dear. All right, I'll just take
No,
these
I
from
want
you.
them.
I'll need them for my... Now,
Come on.
You didn't find any sort of recommend in light of the be seeing you.
I need them for my research. That's what people say about everything. I like the way the soul gems look, though. They're glowy. Epic. Alright, it's 2 recommendations down. That's the other problem, or well, that's one problem with the quest lines in this game is, so if you don't use fast travel, all the quest lines take forever because they assume you're going to, so they just have missions all over the map and just don't even consider at all the idea that you're exploring the world, which is something Morrowind kind of does better. It knows that you're not fast traveling except for using infrastructure. So it designs the quests to make more sense that way, whereas in this, you know, especially the Fighters Guild is bad, where you just have to keep going back to Anvil and Shadenhall back and forth, and then the Coral, and it just assumes you're fast traveling, which, you know, you should just do it at that point. Where's the room? But,
What's going on with you?
Rumor has it the Nerevarine has left Morrowind on an expedition.
Oh, the Nerevarine has left.
And
To
has not
Akavir.
been heard from since.
Really lame. Really lame choice they made there. Is having Nerevar go to Akavir, never to be heard of again. Because I was obviously, like, put in a position where he should have become, like... He literally becomes King of Morrowind by the end of the game, because he's, like, united all the houses and stuff. But just, like, write him off, just be like, he rode into the sunset. If you're gonna do that, then just have him die. Like, for real, have him die at the end of the game. Alright, I don't think we did the recommendation here. This is the one where you get the fingers in the mountain. Yeah, that's a good idea, is having be the reason why Morrowind survives the crisis. Yeah, because he, like, organizes a response. And honestly, have him die in the crisis. Because, like, obviously the reason they have him right away is because they don't want this super character to still be in the setting and, like, limit their writing. Right? I can kind of understand that. So yeah, like, that's a good suggestion. Just have him still be alive at this time. He organizes the response to the Oblivion Crisis in Morrowind and dies doing it. But that doesn't even get into the whole thing where they just destroy fucking Morrowind. They just drop a writer's meteor on it because it's, you know, racist or whatever, and they feel bad about it, I guess.
Good day.
Like, it really feels that way. It feels like they are like... They were ashamed of Morrowind, and so they just destroy it.
Goodbye.
I don't have proof of that, but it just feels that way.
I'm afraid I can't just... If perhaps you can clear up a...
Yes, this is the Fingers
She
of the
and
Mountain
I
quest.
have an unpleasant history. I have seen that she is in town. Determine what she's after.
So this is a great example of a quest where you really need to level
wish to be
rewards.
rid of their
mod,
allies
which
soon
I
as
have. We'll see if it's going to work here, but the reward you get for this quest is a spell called Fingers of the Mountain that is either completely terrible because it does very little and costs all your mana, or is the best spell in the game.
They say syndicates of wizards have led a boycott of imperial goods.
Hello.
And by best spell, I mean like best pre-made spell. You can always make better spells yourself, but yeah. So they should have had Nerevar die defending Morrowind during the Oblivion Crisis, and then also there's some theories about the reason the Oblivion Crisis happens is because the Daedric princes and princesses are becoming more active, which is obviously the plot line of Morrowind. Is Azura is getting her shit together and actually does something again, whereas like the Nine Divines are becoming less active, which is why at the end of this one Akatosh goes away. And so he would think he'd have a part to play and all that.
Hi there.
Yes. Well, it's funny too because the whole like excuse of sailing away to Akavir,
yes.
they use that for
You
other
are a
stuff
guild
too.
mage, are you
There's a
not?
book in this game called The Report.
Yet different from the others. Yes, this is good.
Report at
There's a
Ionith,
small
Disaster
matter
at
with which you may
Ionith,
be able to assist. It's nothing worth involving your guild in, I assure you.
which is
Best
about
kept just between...
which is about basically Uriel Septim the Fourth, I think. this guy's grandfather, the one who just died, who was like really good, goes and sails to invade Akavir and then dies. Basically, like it's a disaster, and it's clearly supposed to be sort of like a Battle of Teutoburg Forest. Or no, sorry, not Battle of Teutoburg Forest. It's supposed to be like it's a combination of, like Crassus dying at trying to invade Persia, or the other one is Julian the Apostate, Roman emperor who tried to go back to paganism. He tried to invade Persia and then dies. It's kind of like supposed to be playing off that. But it is like a trope, like disappears to Akavir. Like Akavir exists as this like black box that they just send shit to when they want it to go away.
Excellent. The book is entitled Fingers of the Mountain. You'll find it at an old... Return it to me immediately when you have it. Make no mention...
See, now this is a quest where you have like a secret esoteric book, which, I brought up before, like the concept of research in games like this and how Morrowind has a quest line that does it really well. This is one where there was kind of an opportunity for that. Unfortunately, the actual contents and importance of the Fingers of the Mountain is essentially secondary in this quest. It's basically just a book of power. Like it just gives you the spell or whatever. It's not that special, and there's no like real mystery to uncover. It's you don't. It's not like she wants it to learn some. So it's not like she wants it to read it to come to a conclusion about something else that's the real mystery, which is what if you were to do it, that's how you do it.
What? No, I trust that as a member. Are we clear?
So like he doesn't tell you.
Should you go look?
He doesn't tell you why it's like.
Make haste. I wish to be.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a Chaos Emerald from Sonic. Like it's just a MacGuffin. It exists to exist, to be fought over or whatever. It feels like. I will say that so some people say that. So in Morrowind you have the Lessons of Vivek, which are like a whole bunch of books that are written in a very like mythological style, like Bronze Age type style, where there's like a lot of double entendres, and you can take like a lot of like different interpretations of it. Like all the stories both have like so when you're reading like ancient texts, like in the real world that are supposed to be like secret, there's what's considered a esoteric and an exoteric reading. And this is in theology too. So the exoteric reading is what literally happens in the story, right? So the Epic of Gilgamesh, the exoteric reading of the Epic of Gilgamesh is that there was a king called Gilgamesh who made friends with Enkidu, and they did cool stuff. And then the esoteric reading is usually what people theorize as like the secret true meaning of whatever the work is, and is communicated through metaphor or through basically what is the equivalent of what we would call now memetics, where like, oh well, there's a bird in this scene because the bird's not just a metaphor, the bird's a code for something, right? That's the esoteric meaning. And the sermons of Vivek and Morrowind are written in a way so that almost all of the sermons have this. They have an esoteric and an exoteric meaning. So like, when you read the sermon of Vivek that's about how he was born from a fisherman, like there's a fisherman who like fished him out of the sea and he was born fully formed or something. I don't think that's actually how it goes. It's something like that, right? So the exoteric meaning is just, this is how Vivek was formed. And then the esoteric meaning is that, oh, well, this is a reference to like the creation of Morrowind as a continent is connected to Vivek himself, and this is supposed to reinforce the idea that there is no Morrowind without the Tribune, right? That is not in this game. And the closest thing that's in this game is the Mysterium Xarxes, which is the set of books that you have to collect in the main quest from Mankar Cameron that explain, like, they basically explain why the Oblivion Crisis is happening. And there are certain aspects of the Compendium of the Mysterium Xarxes that are kind of written vaguely or are written in kind of like a grandiose fashion. But it really doesn't have an esoteric or exoteric meaning. It's just Mehrunes Dagon saying what he's going to do, essentially. It's too close to the narrator, I guess. And like I said, there are some parts of it that do get close to that distinction, the exoteric distinction, but it doesn't really get there, I think. It is interesting to read a book that's supposedly written by a Daedric god. Like, that's a cool idea. And to have him write in a way that's not entirely alien to a mortal. But I don't think it reaches the same level as the Sermons of Vivek. As far as, like, how it actually serves the story. Because, you know, there's some people who talk about the Sermons of Vivek like it's a real piece of, like, literature. It's not that good. It's just very good for, like, what it's supposed to do in the story. Like, it's a useful thing in the world of Morrowind to have. And you think it'd be the opposite. You think that the fact that it's so vague sometimes and that there's two meanings to everything would make it just confuse the story. But what it really does mean is it solves the problem in these games where it's like you can only ever read all the books once. Like, I haven't been reading the books really on this run because I've read them all. And I can just tell you what happens in them. If I remember. But you see what I mean, right? Like, once you've read them all, you kind of just, your eyes glaze over, right? Especially when they're books about events that you see in the game, so you don't feel the need to have them summed up again. But in Morrowind, the Sermons of Vivek, there's the first time you read them, which is at the beginning of the game. And you just sort of take that exoteric reading that's like, oh, this is just Vivek telling the story of how he became a god. And then at the end of the game, you reread some of them, and then combine them with some of the rarer sermons, because there are some of the Sermons of Vivek that you can only find in one or two places that are very interesting, because they're like Vivek literally looking at the camera in the book and saying, like, lol, I'm lying. And it puts all the other ones back, like, makes them mean something different, and then you sort of see that esoteric, like, reading, even though you're reading the same book again. And that's pretty cool. We're not going to give this to her. Although I actually think it might be the better... Here.
How are you?
I'm going to look this up just to see, but I think... I don't think there's a difference in quest reward. I know you get the spell. Oh no, I think you have to give it to her to get her notes. And to get the spell. So you have to give it to her, then steal it back, then give it to Tikas.
How goes it?
Not bad.
I heard that someone saw the ghost of Lord Vlindrel again, along the road to Bruma. I think I'll avoid that road at night for a while.
Oh, no.
Without question.
Bye. Evening.
The Fighters Guild is a good place to go if you need weapons training.
Must we talk about the Fighters Guild now?
Goodbye.
Good day.
Hail! I was in Cheydinhall last week, and I'm sure I saw Reynold Germain. He acted like he didn't know me, though.
Well, if it isn't my... I'll be at...
Lots of dogs in this town. Lots of sheep.
Lots of dogs. It's true. Two whole dogs in this town. Where's what's-his-face? I know you have to wait. She has to go read it. Let's level up. Ha! There we go. We only had to do it twice. Oops. You know, I made this mistake before when I first started this run, and I was under the impression that when you sleep, you rest, you get mana back even as Atronach, which you don't. But I think you do in Skyrim, and that's why I thought that. Or I'm just wrong. Seems like it would be the kind of thing they do in Skyrim. Do a lot of stuff like that. Let's go. Get that carry weight and HP, I guess now. Strength gives HP. Probably a good change.
Greetings.
Now, if I recall correctly, in the base game of this, the Fingers of the Mountain spell
I'm Carmen Litta.
doesn't work.
Perhaps you know my... You too.
As in, it costs more mana than like you get out of it if you were to just make it yourself. But the Oblivion unofficial patch fixes that, and I don't know if this remaster fixes that. Because, like I said, when I was looking through the list of fixes that they've gathered so
Hello,
far,
I don't...
and you know, it's only been
Likewise, I'm all...
Dharma.
Good day.
Blizzard GF. And, you know, they obviously haven't found all the changes yet because it just came out. But it seemed like it has like a third
Hello,
of the
my
changes.
little friend. I've committed most of the
I think
book
it'd
to
have all of
memory.
them.
But it contains instructions. I consider this to be more than a worthy... Yes, it's also very... Be seeing you.
Yeah. You can't even read it. Shock magic, yes. And we'll need a Welkin stone.
I've already given you every...
Do we have a Welkin stone? Do we really not? Nope. Surprised. Where is the dungeon right outside the Imperial Sewer? I'm surprised I didn't do that. I usually always do that. There's a whole bunch of them in there. Honestly, I should have done that because I was Atronach, and then the Welkin stones would have been useful before I got my shit together and did the alchemy. Vilver. Alien Ruins 625. It's a shame you don't fight any aliens other than Uma and the guy's name is the Nine Quest, because in Morrowind you fight ghost dwarves in the dungeon. Oh, okay. Okay. Think you're hot shit, dude? Cool if you could fight alien ghosts. You could see like what the armor and shit they had. I guess it's supposed to be, I think, canonically the glass armor is alien style armor. Oh, and I guess there's just elven, right? There's elven weapons and elven armor. It's light armor. Yeah, me too. There's no Dwemer Ghost in Skyrim. They ran out of soul gem charge, the ghosts. I don't know. The robots are cool. I'm glad they kept that. It makes me think that they don't have the ghosts specifically because they don't want you to know what the drawers. They think that they're adding like mystery by not having you know what the drawers look like. But I mean, I don't think it reduced the impact in Morrowind at all.
Why won't you die?
Why won't you die, Medicare?
Always skirting around in the shadows, making me jumpy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they're like the evil dwarves in Warhammer, where they like have ziggurats and stuff. They look like Gilgamesh. And honestly, like Elder Scrolls could use some like one of the better parts of this game is that there's actual differences in aesthetics between the different races, and so the whole Mesopotamian Bronze Age thing is pretty cool. Just hit my own zombie there. And this is a frickin' slog. But I'd rather it be like this than just be trivial. It's funny, I just fucking roll around like this. This guy must hate me. Just keep summoning zombies. That's one actually really good addition in Skyrim is that you can actually reanimate dead. Whereas in this you can't do it. Just summon like the zombie out of the ether. Which technically means the zombie's a Daedra, like canonically. Which is kind of weird. Claymores suck in this game. The damage like curve is really bad on them, which sucks because I like two-handed swords. Oh, look. Friend.
Am I supposed to be impressed?
No. I don't think you should be impressed, but you should... I don't know. Be impressed by my zombie, at least. Come on. Just hit my wagon. Oh, they died at the same time. Nice. Hello. Must have been nothing. Okay, calm down.
No one lives forever.
Let's see what else we got here. What's this?
Why won't you die?
Or I could just miss. God, I'm such an idiot. I just wasted that. I wonder which is I guess the zombies must be better. I guess we should do... Oops. I guess we should do... Yeah. And hit him with both.
Aim.
And come up here. Can we see him from here? Doing some XCOM tactics here. Imagine being these bandits. They must just be like, fuck this guy. Just running around, jumping off shit. I'm I'm surprised this decaying bolt takes so much mana.
Show me what you've got. What's the matter? Getting tired?
Nope. I can do this all day, guys. I came prepared. This guy looks like Trayvon.
Oh, what's the matter? The baby got a...
From Shadenhall. Or whatever. Oh, did we get the other guys too? Did the zombie get him? Nice. This is why you have to have a ranged guy. You guys run circles around you if you can't shoot me. Greaves of the Monkey. Hold on. Greaves of the Monkey. Huh. I don't think Trayvon would like that. Actually, is that light armor? Maybe I should wear that. If it's not light armor. No, it is. Of course it is. It's Greaves. I should have said the freaking name. Brief history of the Empire. These bandits are getting their degree down here. Just need more money for them programs for the Alien Ruin University of Vilverin. Oh, am I out of potions? Remember when I said I could do this all day because I came prepared? Oh no, we're good. I also suspect we're getting closer to the Welcome Stones now. So if we could get some of those, we'll be good on mana. I guess I should go do another run where I get flax and... What's up, dude?
This ends here.
There we go. Pwned. I didn't do... That was weird. They usually only fall over like that if you do fatigue damage. Like if you drain their fatigue by whatever means under 0. I didn't do any fatigue damage. Might have been the zombie. The zombie might have given him ataxia. Am I just retarded? I think I might just be retarded. Yeah, I am. I am just retarded. Oh yeah, there we go. Just as planned. Okay, so this is across playthroughs. Whenever I find this guy, he's stuck in this pedestal and you can't get him out. Look. It's like clipping through it. I don't know if that's in the original. If that's a remastered. A very important remastered bug. Ruins the whole game. That. I think you know what a zombie looks like, dude. Get him. Show him. Show him what a real zombie does. Nice. Good job. What does Wart Flesh do? Damn, it's a poison. Okay. Could have guessed that. Well, we got our welcome stone. And this guy looks friendly. Just a casual 15 lockpicks. Can't wait till I'm level 10. Turn off lockpicking. Where's my zombie guy? I don't think there's anything bad in here. These guys. Oh, that has something. Okay. We're out of lockpicks. That's what I get for doing the auto thing. Just waste 10 of them. I'm not doing the mini. Like, I just... Again, I considered doing a challenge where I said I would only do the minigame. But, like I said, it's like one of those things that's funny once. We're missing out on the 5 gold that's probably in there. Okay, well, there's like 2 things we didn't open, but we got what we came here for. And there's more. All these skeletons are facing the wrong way. Imagine just punching bones like that. You can break the bones with, like, blows, I guess, but... Like, kick him. That would be cool if they had had kicking animations. You think that would be the iteration. But again, I talked about this with the whole streamlining thing, but it's like, do you iterate or do you streamline? And they always pick streamline, which is why hand-to-hand isn't in Skyrim. And I'm not counting the fact that Khajiit get bonus damage. That's like, that's a meme. Alright. Everyone, put your hands together. All the bots watching this, put your hands together. Should have brought Trayvon. Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. What am I doing? I gave a whole speech about how they have different ways to open locks in these games and they should stick with it, and then I don't. Incredible. None of this. Just impossible. Just fuck my life. I'm just gonna fight them all at once. Nice, nice. Double team there. Good job. That's teamwork. Bobby, what are you doing? One skeleton at a time, bud. Luckily, we got an autosave there. The door. Well met. Alright, we're back. This is where we came. We're still gonna find them all at once again. Good job, zombie. I'm glad these skeletons are just kind of sitting here. They don't all rush me at once. Job, zombie. I guess it was 3 different zombies, but whatever. Thank you for keeping these ones unlocked. Oh, we got a Varla stone. Probably not very useful for this playthrough, considering I already have Soul Trap. Very useful if I was playing my Knight guy, though. Kind of have to rely on that for a while. That's the other problem, is that Knight as a class, like a pre-class in this, is pretty bad. You want to make your own custom Knight class that has Mysticism as a starting major skill. That way you can, do Soul Trap from the beginning of the game. Most of the custom classes are not good, or not custom. The starting classes are not good. And I don't even mean that in the like old leveling system way where you had to pick weird major skills. I mean like even in the now that it's works like more like the way Morrowind was, where there isn't a scaling issue. One thing I do wonder is, so NPCs call you Sir Knight, and I'm not sure if that's because of if they only do that after Knights of the Nine, or they do that because you pick Knight as a class. Considering that the general classes are not that great in this, I'm glad that they're, at least I think, except for that example potentially, that there aren't specific class dialogue options, which is weird because usually you want the opposite. You want there to be class dialogue options because of the idea that these classes are like, it's not just, like in the universe, it's not just a stat distribution, it's a job. Like there's actually, you're doing something in the world and people will like judge you based off your profession. Okay, we got the Iliad artifact. I forgot that there was one in here, which is good. We go to sell that to Umbacano in the Talos district for 500 gold. That quest is a good one to do, actually. It just supercharges you a ton of money at the beginning of the game. And it's not hard. There's a couple of these ruins that are sort of hard, but for the most part, it's not hard. Alright, I need to not die here. Like, you can just do the easy ones and just get a cool, like, 2,000 gold. Oh, you think you're a summoner? You think your zombie's hot shit? Die, John. Well, you may be able to summon a better zombie than me, but can you take a punch? Can you punch? Oh, shit, he doesn't have to punch. He's got a knife. That's right. Sorry, buddy, but you're not the main character of this game, at least. You might have been the main character of some previous game. Okay, we don't need that. Classic Oblivion skeleton with note that tells entire life story next to it. I understand why people like stuff like that, the environmental storytelling, but it's a trick that you can only do once so many times and not eventually feel lame. I'm just being a spoiled sport when I say that, I guess. It is strange that Jalbert was this deep in the dungeon, considering he had to have pressed all those buttons and fought in all those skeletons to get past that one door that I did. I don't know if that's just he set up the trap or what. Alright, so I'm gonna save, but next time the first thing I need to do is go get more mushrooms and go get more flax, because I need more potions. And also do the rest of the recommendations now that I have the Welkin Stone so I can get the Fingers of the Mountain. We're going to see if the Fingers of the Mountain, the spell reward is fixed. Until